1, 2. We're live.
All right.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Hey, good afternoon.
Good evening.
Well, was it afternoon? Evening?
It's
Good
evening.
evening. Good evening and good evening, everyone. Welcome to the DeBrief show. We're just going to give some persons some chance to come live so that we can start our show here today with the lovely Stephanie Chase.
No.
And the I would not say the lovely Corey Worrell, so you don't have to worry about that at all. Right? You can share it. Yeah. So just give us a couple of seconds or a couple of minutes to share, and we will go. We should-
No. You won't go down that route. But,
Yeah. Excuse our host and Mr. Simon and Jermaine and the others. Just give us a second to pause. If there's any technical difficulties, if you cannot hear us, if you're hearing any buzzing in it, please let us know so that we can address that urgently. But just give us a few seconds. We also want you to share it with your people as well and with all who you or within your following so that we can have a very good, interesting show. Again, we have Ms. Stephanie Chase and Mr. Corey Worrell here with us. And we will be discussing discipline in school, a number of issues, you know, we like to go or we get down. So we're going to be discussing a number of stuff. So just give us a few seconds, rather, to share, and we will then have a conversation. Everybody done share?
I think we were just shared. See it popping up.
On his own page, we will get 1 million or 1 views, huh?
Yeah, right, bro.
Yeah, you're popular guy here.
Yeah, very influential.
Well, put he as a future prime minister, so.
Nah, boy. I want y'all, we will never want.
Right? Right, and you just share it. Again, we would like that you share it with any persons that you may have within your group as well.
Correct.
You can't share it to a page?
You can share it, yeah, you got.
Sure, late. Yeah.
You want to share it to your page?
Yeah,
Let's share now.
Yeah, you got down here.
Share now.
So you
Share now is.
Oh, you know about
page.
his
No,
phone?
I
To
mean,
your chair's phone.
yeah.
Yeah, you You should.
You have to go on.
Oh, okay, fine. Okay.
Alright. So, welcome again, everyone. We're just taking some time out to share to persons.
Share it to my party president.
We have a full house today.
Yeah, we do.
We are more one beautiful lady, and all of these ugly guys I said myself. Right?
I'm not ugly, man. I will not join you.
Well, you're cute, right?
I know if you
What's that?
Jermaine is
Your come brother.
Man, you shouldn't be saying nice all things to me.
Why not?
Why not?
Oh, Lord, boy. I know you're
Let brotherly love
I
continue.
know I get dirty, though.
Let brotherly
I just
love.
get pulled up, but that's it. Where's this?
So I said we are discussing the discipline in school. We have some past teachers, present teachers.
I applied to be a teacher and never got you.
They never took him because probably various reasons.
I know, but that's still a blessing.
Well,
A lot for you doing.
probably that you need to be
Mark,
taught.
sure that you start, boy.
I played the wrong place. You should apply to teach you there. Got there for it.
Oh.
Okay.
They won't want you. They won't want you. I think you
You know what?
play your
But you know what? The greatest leader must first be the most humblest servant.
I am very humble.
That's right.
I don't know about that part.
That's right.
But we're going to discuss the whole thing. I said, if there's any technical issues and you have any, you hear any glitches, let us know so we can fix it. But we're discussing the discipline in schools, and we would like to hear your views on what you think about schools and the discipline within it. And we would love to engage you. Feel free to share your comments. Feel free to engage us. Share it in everything, and we will go from there. So, without further ado, we want to welcome Stephanie and Corey to the show. Thanks for taking up your time and being here with us and
That's right.
come and discuss the whole discipline in school. Where do we start? Who wants to start? Where do we go from here?
Ladies first.
Why must I go first? Gender
You're a
equality?
lady.
No?
Worrell, Worrell, the man that always have something
To say?
to say.
Well, what you can say, the topic now is the principal at St. George, Mr. Brown, and his new intervention. Alright, so what would have happened? I can start with what the public knows, and then work backwards. So there was this event at the school where they launched this new, I think they're called the St. George Lions. So they were, launching with the Lions and stuff. And as most people would know, there's a lot of positive happening at St. George Secondary School. And,
Definitely.
And from watching in school sports alone, you knew, and that even their outfit, a lot of good stuff happening at St. George. I don't know how long the new principal was there. I think probably about 2 years going.
As a principal, but he was there longer as a teacher.
Right.
So he knows the culture of
he
the school.
does.
And then you have people before that would start to lay some good foundation and stuff.
Right.
So basically, what person responded to was when the media was speaking to him, and he said that they have a new initiative, alternative to corporal punishment or being sent home, and he asked the board to get some weed whackers to give the students to help with the
A bit of form of community service in a way.
service within school. So then you had a lot of people who supported this new initiative, and then you had, I don't want to say a lot, but you had some who criticized it. I saw messages pertaining to, "Man, not my child." Other people say that this is dangerous. All these sort of things. Now, it was interesting when the person said it was dangerous. I was like, but they don't know that within CVQ, there are students who use weed whackers. The other thing too is with this alternative, these students will still have to follow the same safety procedures, wear the correct
Protective gear,
etc. Now, let me go back now. That was this term. Last term, there had some boys at the school who were caught gambling and they went to the principal office. These are senior boys. And the principal was going to send them home. The boys told the principal, "Sir, don't send me home. Let me do something different. Let me clean garbage, let me cut grass, let me garden something." So the principal said that he can think about it. He thought about it, he went and spoke to the
board?
agricultural science teacher. And they came up with this thing where the boys would, I think, they spend a week with the agricultural science teacher from morning to afternoon. And what they did, they went and got this plot of this area. They park it, create beds, plant, flooring plants, everything. These are boys.
Very good.
Now, interestingly enough, I met one of the parents, boys, only this week. And the parent was so happy that the boys, his son, is who actually made the recommendation for alternative to flogging. Now, you got these people that
Or suspension.
that criticize it. But what people don't realize is that a lot of us, because we're the 80s generation,
I'm 79.
yes, that's Stephanie close enough.
Suddenly you're
Stephanie
not
close
your
enough.
age.
She got even roll something.
I'm just stuck there.
Just
Just ignore me.
right? But even in our generations, at home, sometimes rather than getting disciplined by lashes, we had different things that I want to do, whether it's outside, etc. No, the other thing too with these children is that these children, if they had to go before the court for the gambling, they may get community service, which would be the same thing. If they go JS dogs, they go do the same thing. The other thing too is this: there's a benefit in it. Some of these children may start off doing these alternative things, but guess what? They learn new skills. Some of them may start little businesses in communities. Some of them may actually learn how to fix them. So there's a lot of positives that will come off. Yeah. So that's just where this whole discipline talk come from.
So I guess the question following up then would be, is this something then, based on the model that's at St. George Secondary School, is this something that you think could be applicable to other schools? Or
you mean you be whack itself, or you mean say alternative?
the alternative to corporal punishment?
Well,
The alternative to corporal punishment. And in fact, I think
but you're not replacing corporal punishment.
as an alternative, I guess that is something that we weighed out with the principal and those who deal with discipline. Because the principal may, he or she may say, okay, well, this child is really need a good flogging. They talk in assembly,
I want a question.
as opposed to something more constructive.
You're a teacher.
Mm.
I'm a teacher.
You're a teacher. You're also a teacher. I'm not a teacher.
I tell you what I play.
Regardless of you think I'm the money. But I will say this: I am one who has never been in favor of corporal punishment.
Why?
I think it is cruel. degrading, inhumane. I mean, look at the genesis of corporal punishment. It really doesn't belong in our school system.
Does it damage you?
If it damages you, it could.
You ever get lashes?
Yes, I have.
They damage you?
Like it damage you for real.
That's not nice. Come on, fellas.
They damage you? Actually, let me separate. Let me separate two. I ain't talking about a beating that abusive. I talking about lashes. You know what I'm saying? Different.
Lashes for purpose.
It made me fearful of my principal. That is the only purpose I served.
I wonder why Stephanie Chen said that she waiting for somebody.
Invitation.
No, but she's listening.
I'm listening.
She's
But just let me add my disclaimer that the fact that I went to St. George Secondary School proudly.
You couldn't go back there for a couple of
He was
years.
a rebel at school.
Yeah, they banned me for 10 years. But after 10 years, I'm going to go.
10 years old yet?
You didn't want to be
10 years only, yes, last year.
So you go back now. So you never got on top of a bus and dance on top of it and say, yeah, boy, like, yeah. You never dance on top of a bus.
I want to hear
Nah.
the thing about the corporal punishment though.
Oh.
So it's not damage you, right? Was it inhumane to you?
No, I look back at it. Yes, it was.
What about it was inhumane?
The principal basically at the given. I was around, I think, 10 years old at the time.
What's your first one?
Primary school.
No, it was in primary school.
Primary school.
And the principal just decided that I can't remember exactly what incident happened, but he decided that he was going to just call all the young boys on stage, and he was going to administer blows with what is it called tamarind rods.
The tamarind name? I know back at the primary school, you still name everything. Name the bell,
I can't
name the
remember.
ruler.
Jeremy, what have you done that you and most of the other guys that was called up to get lashes?
If you were listening, you would hear that I just said I cannot remember.
Oh, you
But
can't
you have to do something, unless you try and say the principal
is
is
it
mad.
a coincidence that Jeremy all of a sudden can't remember? Cause I
Because
thought that
normally
you
you
had
would
to
remember.
Yeah.
Especially if it is what
Right,
You mean-
if it traumatized you that much, you would have remembered. I remember being flogged because I couldn't draw a fish.
you can draw a fish
Art
like.
class.
I still can't draw a
I can
fish.
tell you
I get flogged in class 4.
Yeah.
After lunch, every single day it was tables. A table was called St. Joe's Primary,
No,
and it was called out 6-1, 6-2, 6-3, and you had to rate just as fast as you dog in. Everyone that you get wrong was a lash at the end of the whole table.
Oh, yeah, like 100.
But for me, I get beat
That was abusive.
because
That was
I
abusive.
cannot play fans.
The one beating that I can remember from primary school though is when I was 5 years old.
Oh, no.
Yeah, this beating was very.
You were just hard here.
Imagine that for your
Okay,
remember you can remember a couple years ago.
Alright, stop.
Stop.
That's abusive.
That's abusive.
It was.
Let's hear Stephanie.
We're talking about discipline, and I think we need to define what discipline is. Right? I think that's very important for the people who are watching, for them to understand that we actually have an understanding or knowledge of what discipline is. And it's basically training someone to obey rules for acceptable behavior. And discipline does not always mean corporal punishment. As soon as people hear discipline, the first thing that comes to mind is, you want to beat my child. Beating. That is not what we promote in our schools.
True, we don't.
We do not.
Schools positive.
And discipline is
Yeah,
often
SPBM,
Absolutely, schools positive behavior.
Yeah, there's a SPBM
Yes.
program in a lot of schools.
Yes.
You can't use acronyms. For us, we know what that means.
So
Yeah.
just explain.
Yeah, schools positive
Behavior
behavior
management program.
Management program.
So
That's what the primary school.
But what that comprises of?
What are the other things to discipline?
But hold on, first of all, what that comprises of, like this, what that behavioral program
Okay,
comprises
first there is preventative, supportive, and corrective forms of discipline.
That's right. Go ahead.
Right? And you have to identify the root of what is causing this child to misbehave.
Mm-hmm.
When you've identified the triggers, then you try to address it. You can't send to school a child who is hungry and expect them to function in the classroom. And I'm speaking to parents now because parents are always on our teachers' cases. And I'm saying you can't send to school a child who has every evening to pick up a sibling from at
That's
school,
right. I walk to school.
go home, clean the house, fix something to eat, clean, all these different things, and still have homework to do. And when the parent come home, you do X, Y, Z. If it's not done, then that parent disciplines that child. That child comes to school the next day, sleepy, tired, disoriented. Teacher does not know or may not know at that time what is going on. And the first thing the teacher will say, they're not paying attention, they're not doing any schoolwork and stuff like that. And they may punish that child not knowing
The background.
the backstory
I can put
to the behavior.
behind it. I use a lot. Behind every attitude and behavior, there's a story.
There's a
Right?
story.
And
Of course.
You can't help that
Absolutely.
child till you find out where his story began.
Absolutely.
But my question is, are all the teachers trained in this behavioral program per se? Because well, I work with homeless, and some of the things is I have to try to hire staff that appreciate what I do.
As a teacher, there's not everything that you would know.
No.
But teaching is a profession, and you have to make it your business to ensure that you're trained in areas which can benefit your students.
True.
But you
So
don't think it should be mandatory?
I can say that I think it should be mandatory.
But we do as teachers get exposed.
we get- absolutely.
exposed. When you have different when teachers professional day, a lot
Once
of
a
professional
year.
development.
Some teachers
Yes.
go workshops as well.
I got a lot of
Exactly,
workshops.
there are
And there
workshops.
teachers
that pay their own money.
There you go.
to do online
Exactly.
courses,
Exactly. Exactly.
Look, we have honestly, let's be really frank. We got some really highly trained teachers.
And teachers
we
who
got
are,
teachers
who are
committed
invested.
in
But
the
when you say train, are you talking about highly trained teachers in teaching profession, or highly trained teachers that has a balance between teaching and knowing how to deal with children?
the knowing how to deal with children comes through
Yeah,
experience.
through experience.
So after 5 years of teaching, after 6 years of teaching, after 7 years, you begin to pick up the culture of your school. You begin to pick up certain trends.
And you can
things in teaching
identify
children.
How long were your teachers?
9 going 10 years actually.
Okay, and
10
yourself,
years.
Stephanie?
15 years.
You're a teacher, and yourself?
How long?
Well, hold up on it. I would say I was a teacher from around 2004, right? But remember, normally people box teachers into school.
Yes.
So I was teaching
At various schools.
before
Yeah.
I went into the schools,
That's nice.
right? So I was teaching private lessons. Now, one of the other things too that people must understand is that even though teachers are going to learn how to interact and deal with children and classroom management, all these things
That's
within
right.
schools, a lot of teachers come out of church youth groups, community youth groups, sporting groups, you know,
Coaches, boy.
coaches,
Lots of
yeah,
coaches,
you know.
yeah.
So they already come with you won't call it. When you say training, people normally thinking about the formal training, but there's a lot of informal training that occurs. Another thing that happens in schools, teachers disciple each other.
Yeah.
So you got teachers. When I was teaching at Leicester Vaughan, there were some older teachers doing 38, 39 years. I would have gone to about certain things. No, they had things that they came to me too. So when they had the bar boy class, and they told that one of the teachers, who's a team teacher, don't come class.
You were fortunate because when I started teaching, it was like a fish out of water.
Yeah, me too.
No
When I
mentorship.
went
There was
to
no mentorship.
Yeah,
Right. I literally had a teacher who said, you come and take away somebody's job. I was like, what?
I know.
Seriously?
I know. Yeah. It's like that
Yeah.
sometimes.
But what about
So you didn't get any support at all?
I got support
Initially,
eventually
yeah.
when I established that I could be professional and I can handle myself and I'm not going to tolerate any disrespect regardless of if you're teaching 30 years, 15 years and stuff like that.
True.
You know, so then I got support and I, as Corey said, if I needed assistance or help, I would go and ask for it.
But on the discipline, and when I was going to school,
Boy,
everybody could be here when he was going to school. Even the part-time
we
teacher.
discipline you, sorry.
Well, I said be in some cases because
Well, you probably deserve
at
it.
that time, yeah, you deserve some. But at that time, when I was going to school, every teacher had a bamboo.
Oh,
Literally every. Listen, even if you
Give
don't
me
know,
some time frames. What years you went?
I went to school. I left school, but between 5 and
No.
99?
What year we left school?
in 2006.
Okay.
So go back down. I spent 7 years at school, 6 years at school.
99.
Right. So from 99 up, and when I was going to school
That's
at
99.
St. George, everybody had a bamboo.
That is so
Everybody was like,
When I went
When I went to
foundation,
school, that was
one
not
of
the
the
case.
principal and the deputy had
Yes,
a
no,
bamboo.
anybody could have been you. Listen,
Nah, not.
and
not-
even in some cases when I was going to school, prefects could have been.
Prefects?
Yes, when I was going to school, senior prefects was hitting children.
I don't understand why you send George children to school.
Yeah, no, but I just saying.
That's in German.
I remember one time at St. George, right? What they did when we were behaving bad, all the bad boys, quote unquote. They took us and made us prefects.
Yeah, sometimes that works.
Because we was stamping down children when they didn't get in class. So they took the discipline and kind of turned it around. But when I tell you, you had teachers. I remember the first time a principal came. Our principal retired, and this new principal came. And from the time she walked on the property, she was beating children. Nobody knew she was the future principal. Nobody knew who she. Get the class.
No, let me ask something. Isn't that abuse? Yes. I ain't going back to what Beckford saying, because Beckford trying to say that all forms of corporal punishment is abusive. That is what he's saying.
I got my children to
and he's wrong for saying it, because here's the thing. I went to school at Wesley Hall. Right?
Oh, Lord.
In the days when Wesley Hall was Wesley Hall.
Oh, come
I still
on.
is
No, it's not. From the time girls come to Wesley Hall, that's when Wesley Hall started to change. I believe from my experience in teaching and working young people, if you can't have single ed schools, at least have single ed classes. There's a lot of challenges that children between the age of 13 and 11 and at least 14 dealing with. Let me give you an example and then come back to Wesley Hall. When you go into secondary school, one, you going in coming from a place where you was the biggest to a place where you was the smallest. You coming from a place where teachers is kind of baby and love you up to a place where teachers you're really on your own. Next thing, you coming from a school where basically everybody knew you to a school where very few people that you went to school with. So you got a lot of social issues that you're dealing with. The other thing that you're dealing with is puberty. And let me tell you, I came from an all-boys school. I came from Wesley Hall, right? Girls came in when we went class 4, alright? Good. When I went in foundation, the girls in my class were so pretty. And back in them days, right, don't get that. When I came out the day, foundation at Alexandra had a lot of pretty girls.
Right? Middle school too?
Well, I put them two there. But here's the thing. I could not deal with seeing all them pretty girls.
Wait.
I came from an all-boys school.
Big distraction.
I was a pervert at first and second form.
But I can
argue
I went to
that.
all boys school, and when I went to St. Michael's school, it didn't.
Because you never like girls.
Whoa. Not Bedford. Guess what?
I am just kidding.
Please read those comments for us. We have some comments there.
Mr. Speaker,
we straight out on the record. Go ahead, Simon, with those views.
Nasty boy.
Right, because you want to.
Debbie Harrison is saying, I agree with Corey, boys and girls should not be in same classes to distract.
But there's a place for co-education. There's a place where.
Give us.
I'm not saying there's no co-ed. You can have co-ed classes for some things, but I believe the majority.
Define some things that you mean that should have co-ed.
Wait, give me the comments and then let me get Stephanie's
comment. The issues contributing as punishment are diverse. People discipline based on how they were disciplined. Parents and teachers in many instances are emotionally disconnected from children, hence they do not understand how to be emotionally contained and how to apply reward systems. Additionally, it is critical to understand the developmental and emotional milestones of children. It would offer greater insight about why certain behaviors are being exhibited. So that's a comment coming from Fabian Sargent. Thanks, Fabian.
Alright, let me get Stephanie in and then Corey, let me add back to you. You want?
I want to address what Corey said about not having boys and girls in the same classroom. We ran that experiment at Garrison School about maybe 7 years ago or so. And I can tell you that those two classes, which were all girls and all boys, were the most disruptive, unsettled classes in the school.
Because they started with co-ed and then
when they came into first form, they were placed in all boys. One class was all boys and one class was all girls, just to see
fair enough.
if there would be changes in the academic performances and attitudes and stuff.
It was done for
How long were
It was done for a year.
Oh, see.
But here's the thing, that was one class. That was not on your level.
Two classes.
So, 2 classes. But you know, I'm not saying
Don't put me in all boys class though.
I'm not saying that you would have it at no point in time girls and boys interact in class. But I just personally think that there should be probably a significant more majority when it comes to single A.
When it comes to particular classes.
Before I want Stephanie one question.
Yes,
What were the marks like at the end of the year?
I cannot recall the marks. If I give you an example of marks, I would be doing a disservice.
Well, what basically the most important thing was F. Well, I don't.
Did it work or didn't it work?
But were the marks higher in that class versus the other classes, or were
They
the
were
marks lower?
marginally lower.
Oh, okay.
They were not performing.
I don't think I would have
I
performed
walk
all
back to
boys
this
class
Wesley Hall
either.
thing, right? So I went to school at Wesley Hall. In those days, when Wesley Hall was Wesley Hall.
But it was all boys school.
Right? No, it had girls come in and later, but the girls it still did well for a period of time, and then things changed, whatever changed. Now at Wesley Hall was known as a high achievers for academics. I mean, there were some classes, like I was in 4A, I was in all the A classes, I was in 4A and getting 87% in class and coming last.
You know, environment.
Right? That's so a lot of good men, right?
Of course.
Now here's the thing.
Name
At
one.
Wesley Hall, looking back, we were abused. In some cases. You used to get at
Coercive
Wesley Hall
education.
2 lashes, right? For every one question you get wrong.
Jeez.
And that is every single day in class 4.
That's abuse.
Right, so I'm saying, right? What I'm saying is that was abusive. What I don't want people to think is that once you administer corporal punishment, that it means you will abuse. And Fabian is a social worker,
Of course.
right? And Fabian made a point just now
Rewards.
about parents and teachers in many instances are emotionally disconnected from children. I know a lot of teachers that are very, very connected.
I was going to
emotionally.
disagree with that.
Especially
statement.
myself, because there are teachers who literally treat their entire classes
Like
Like their own children.
Like,
You know,
Yeah, Stephanie is a perfect example.
Everyone Stephanie pays.
Oh, good Lord.
They're my babies.
Clearly.
Are your babies change every year?
Well, I've had this class for the last 3 years, but
Oh.
normally I've never had a class for more than a year, but I've had this class
But
For
then I've
long.
seen students who
Good.
come back
all the
and
time.
adults, they're
All the
adults
time.
and they still come to her. and
Stephanie,
respect.
Debbie Harrison has said in response to what you said earlier, Stephanie first formers are usually unsettled as they are trying to acclimatize to their new surroundings, etc.
True.
Sophia Ali has said, my son went to private primary school and he always had girls in his class, so when he graduated to secondary school, the mix was no problem.
I mean, there were
Because
boys
you
that
would,
went
you
to
would
all
learn
that
how
mixed
to
good
you
too,
would
you know.
learn how to function. I mean,
True.
and back again to the experiment. When those boys and girls came out of the class at lunchtime, you would think that they just got released from a jail.
Yeah, the excitement levels and
The
energy.
excitement to get out there and interact with boys or interact with girls. I'm laughing, right? Because trust me, you had to be there to understand what was going
It
on.
can't be easy to actually sit down and watch all your other
Classes, exactly, equal,
Yeah,
mix, and you're on
you
your
are-
own. Exactly.
Correct.
Right, that's why.
Was it like people within the school would have questioned, say you that's a gay class or something?
No.
Okay, just
No.
because they know that so then the pressure could be on like
No.
you know all boys class.
No.
Okay.
No.
Fair enough.
But going back to what
That's good to hear.
there was a point that Fabian mentioned with regards to punishment, and then you all think about rewards too as well.
Yeah.
I find that one of the strategies that some schools use, not only in Barbados but across the world, they try to reward and actually reinforce positive behavior.
So
when students do well, they really appreciate their performances. They really make them feel good. And even for one of the things that we did recently, the young lady that refused to fight at the
Princess
bus
Margaret.
stop at Princess Margaret. That was a very good initiative to reward
Yeah.
behavior, especially when it comes to peer pressure.
Definitely wants this on this one.
Yeah, she did.
He broke my train of thought.
Oh,
Sorry.
But yeah, absolutely.
Himar Stewart, yeah, man.
Based on what?
And when they're watching, you talk real soft, so you gotta talk a little louder.
Yeah, right. Based on what everybody said, we usually ignore the social issues that are behind kids and that are behind teachers as well. A lot of teachers have issues with being paid in some instances.
Being
Paid on time.
Pay not pay.
Yes.
Right.
A lot of teachers actually don't like teaching and they don't want to be in schools, but due to the fact that
you can get a job or something.
right, so people get into schools. Okay, you may not be the most favorable person as it relates to interacting with kids, but bills have to pay, mortgage have to pay, what's not.
And
So, teachers, and not only teachers too, general workers, maids, admin staff, what's
Pay
not.
me when they work, yeah.
Take out those frustrations within the classroom, and children are not stupid, so it's quite visible to see. Okay, now from a kid's perspective, there's a lot of pressure coming from homes. So you mentioned about kids being hungry, not to mention verbal abuse from home,
Sexual abuse,
physical abuse.
emotional.
One thing that we don't like to discuss in Barbados, particularly I would say quote unquote upper echelon schools, is this thing of social class and where you come from.
That's right.
And who your mother is and who your father is, and if you know somebody here, you know somebody there. So you have a lot of, I would say, lower social classes, kids who come from that environment, having to deal with the fact now that your classmate is coming to school, a $300 bag in your class for you. He has on the brightest shoes, clothes, what's not. He's looking that way. When you as a kid, you are hungry. You have one bag of shoes.
A hand-me-down bag,
and your mother and father is putting pressure on you to tell you things to dampen your self-esteem. And teachers have favorites as well, and they're telling the kids.
And is that wrong?
Yes.
I had a personal experience in class 4.
It's wrong.
Where my teacher told me, I told in the presence of my mother, don't put no school in and law school for him on that paper because he will never get there.
You went to school there?
St. George Primary. And she pointed to a specific girl in the class.
St. Michael's.
That's school in Barbados.
This girl is going to go to Harrison's College. This girl is going to go to Harrison's College. All y'all are going to fail. She every minute lo and behold, when the results come back, me and the girl end up at the same school, and a lot of people went Harrison, the queen is not her. And she had to see me every day and eat out inside to know that she was.
How did you feel when you went to school with her?
I feel proud because every time I see the girl, I remember, okay, this is the girl that.
I can remember things that was said to me at
school.
All of us would.
It was very bruising at the time to hear it from your teacher.
But it happened to me.
Let me get Stephanie in.
What I will say is that the system is not perfect. And as Kimar just said, there are teachers who are in the system who do not enjoy teaching, who cannot relate to the students that they're teaching.
Don't like children.
And they really should not be in the teaching
agree.
profession. But as he says, you have a mortgage, you got car payments, you got children to send to school, or you got college tuition to pay and stuff like that. So it's a job. And you will find that sometimes those teachers shortchange the students.
Stephanie, I don't do that. You got principals that should not be principals.
That's right.
You got senior teachers.
We have politics and everything. We got
square pegs.
Yeah, we got corruption in all facets of society. Be that as it may, if we want to bring about positive change, we cannot dwell on the negatives.
True.
Right? So that's why I'm glad that we're having this discussion. Because the only way for our children to succeed is if there's a partnership between teachers and parents, partnerships between schools and old scholars, the schools and the community schools and corporate Barbados. And sometimes I will see certain companies are always sponsoring particular schools. And then when you have certain schools approaching some of these companies, you can't get a pen.
You know the reason why that will happen?
I don't care what the reason is. I am saying that at the end, thank you, Simon. At the end of the day, there must be fair share for all, vested interest in all these schools. So
they say fair share for all.
Yes, I can understand that. I can understand you saying, okay, you have a budget of $10,000, whatever, that you're going to donate to your alma mater. Yeah, no problem. Put the $10,000 there. Fund two for somebody else. I will challenge you to that.
That is true.
The 2,000, it is not as much as the 10, but it will go it will go a long way. And
so then it's not fair share.
But I'm saying a fair share is that you're getting something is better. Something is better than
because we don't even operate like that as people.
No, but something is better than nothing.
The question related to this whole donation. As it is right now from what I'm gathering is that certain individuals or companies donate towards a specific school. Would you think it would work if it was that, let's say there was a donation pool or whatever, whereas the money, instead of getting donated to a particular school, would go into the pool, and then it would obviously evenly be shared among.
That would be fantastic, but that's not.
But the politics of that would be
That's-
rigorous because my
yes.
needs might be greater than yours.
Yes, that's not going
But
to happen.
Every school has different.
Different.
Yeah,
But what I
yeah.
found out, if you talk, I don't know if you're going to go out try is that I've realized that where schools are raising money, a lot of the graduations now are becoming a price
commercially
tag. I went to a graduation one time, and it was at a very well started after hotel. But when I hear that some children were paying up to $500 to even graduate,
Seriously?
and
Yeah,
my thing is now when I came to speak, I was like, pay me, because if you could pay the hotel, you could buy this bag.
No, I don't agree with that. I
Let me say something.
don't agree with that.
If you pay for the hotel, if you pay for the party food,
Kimar, you're being a tad bit unfair. You're being unfair.
I just say you
I
can
hear
afford
what
it,
you're
baby.
saying. You're being unfair.
You don't think I should be based
Not
on
the
this?
same.
So you should pay
No, hang on.
I want it. Give me the one.
Hold on.
Give me
All
the
right,
one.
First thing first, let me say this, right? I do not believe that graduation should be expensive.
True.
However, what I will say is that we need to expose our children, and everything for me is a learning experience.
Yeah.
That you should learn in everything. A lot of these children have never eaten at restaurants.
True. Never used mental for.
They've never been to hotels.
True.
They've probably been never drive in a limousine.
True.
Or
Never
get
went-
Or dress up fancy.
get dressed
Well
up
said, Stephanie.
for that formal occasion. So I don't think that we should take that away.
But
Because
it shouldn't
hang
make
on,
it
let me
expensive.
finish. Let me finish. I can tell you that at my school, these kids raise funds from full farm.
That's right.
I did.
Well,
They
for 1
raise.
year.
They spent 2 years,
2 years.
Simon,
That's right.
Raising
Years,
these
2
funds.
years. That's right.
to pay for the
Right, class.
hotel, to pay for the food, to pay for the rental of the gowns, the
All the
sound
rings,
equipment,
everything.
all of these different things. So we should not
But
take
this
that
is
away.
some school.
I'm speaking from my school.
Okay, from your
we
school.
spent 2 years
I
raising
want to jump in there.
that
too.
money.
But when I went to school, I remember from fifth form, we started to sell popcorn and things.
Yes.
So
You got Brian, you got
however,
Brian.
they didn't make me graduate because it was
Why?
that bad.
You were
Because
trouble,
they said it was a bad boy. But
And that's another thing too.
so I never graduated. But my thing is, well, you're saying, and again, this is where we fall down in society, where your school is out there raising money from full farms. So it's not like the children have to pull 500 one time.
No.
absolutely
But the
not.
public perception on it is that it has become so commercial. Where also parents are saying it is an expense to me when they got 3 and 4 or 2 and 3. So what I'm just saying is that education is
I
not
agree.
out there for some. And while we appreciate what our Greater City is doing, then I think that schools should take page from that then
But you got
and
different
different
models.
models. But no, but I'm just saying
My
when people are out there saying, and this don't forget me wanting to pay,
absolutely, yeah.
but we are saying parents. If I got a child in 4th and one in 5th and one in upper 5th, and quick so back to back, I have
2
to
years.
find 500 or whatever it cost may be. It is rough on that person. Well, the model at Graden City is awesome because I have 4 years to save, and this is St. George did it. It's just that they didn't let me graduate, so they raised money for people.
You don't work on that. You don't work on that.
No, they didn't give back that because they put me up by that thing too.
But what I want to
just
say is
like,
this. I agree. But what I want to say is that
I pay my
I
dues.
believe that when parents and children are invested in something, it's the same thing when it comes to sporting trips for children to go overseas to play.
Absolutely.
When it comes to field trips overseas,
Yeah.
it may sound like a lot of money, but the parents know they have a year at least to come up. For example, for plane ticket and so on, $1,000, $1,200. What I'm saying is that the purpose of the graduation committee is to raise funds to benefit all the students,
Yes.
and to
Even those that cannot afford it
Yes.
should be
Mainly
benefited.
They do.
Mainly those.
And
Mainly
what about
those
those?
ones.
What about? So we got those that cannot afford it, and we got those who are leeches.
We don't have leeches.
I must say leeches.
We don't have
But
leeches.
you understand me? Those
We
these
have-
are
we
ones
have- we
that
have-
don't participate.
But
But
come
it's
on,
up to
guys,
you,
we
though.
have-
But what
We
I
don't
want to do
have-
now
we
is
don't
that you
have
have the
Because
forms
how
to
you
see
see those?
Right. So those children that don't participate, obviously, they may have to pay a little more. They may have to do some kind of assistance. So, for example, you got a roster who can operate the selling of samosas, who can sell popcorn,
who
can do the car wash.
Give everybody a role. Make it mandatory rather than.
I want to put a scenario here, right? Because you talking.
It all boils down to discipline as well.
Yeah,
definitely don't understand me. All I mean is just people who don't want participate.
But hold on. But teachers, if they don't want to participate, when it comes time to pay the money for graduation, they pay the full amount.
But suppose you have a child, I can use a different context. Suppose a child is a Muslim, right? And we know Muslims don't participate in everything, right? Child
You'd be surprised. But you might be surprised. The good thing about some of the Muslim groups I would have interacted with, their parents would donate the food, the same samosas, or they would assist in some other capacity.
Yes.
Okay.
Right? So it still balances out.
Correct.
It still balances out.
You want to mention about the way couple myriad hands.
Right, but that's basically part of it. Which would be like the fundraiser. We got a big fat. We used to do. But we do the big.
Feds need to be disciplined.
Well, of course. Because they got outsiders.
St. George did it last year. And they fumbled with this. Say they're secondary, right?
You're big enough my school,
What they did, right? They create this in school certificate thing because they had a year where so much students did not have any CXCs, all sort of stuff, right? Now what they did, they had 100% persons graduating, right? What they did, they created this. But mostly teachers, they create a certificate of things that the children would achieve over a period of time, right? And once they achieve it, that's your certificate. What they do with the graduation, they had graduation at the school, so everybody could attend. So that it wasn't a case where if you can afford a restaurant or whatever. However, that graduation was one day.
And then
next day, all of those who wanted that could afford. And that's another more. So you got so
before we got to school.
But I got an issue where I was on the radio show, and a parent messaged me because the principal told them that they're gonna raise $15,000 for graduation. Okay. And the mother was like, 15,000. I mean, she
of course,
a primary school graduation.
Primary school? How much?
I don't know how much students. I know it's
primary school.
Primary school.
Well, now where's they walk in?
That's 120. That's 120 students, possibly 30 students per class. 35 by 4.
No, but you remember you got some primary schools that only got 2 class 4s.
Yeah.
Oh shoot!
Right, but 15 grand, and the parent, and I think she had 3 children in school or something, and she was freaking out. Now my thing is that Stephanie made a very, very good point about these experiences. And then they got some children as we plan for years, but for the whole year and stuff, right? But some people take it overboard. Some, so it's like, where do we find your phone? Where do we find the balance? Where do we?
I can give up. My personal opinion is that not every child will graduate with a CXC.
Truly,
I have none.
But
every child should be given the opportunity.
But every child should be given the opportunity because graduation is a rite of passage.
It's a celebration.
What about the children? I share this view.
I never graduated.
If you share this view, Stephanie.
Oh, but that's your choice.
By choice.
There are children, right?
Who
do not get to sit CXC if they don't pass the pre-CXC test.
Let me tell you.
I personally think if you go to school, you will get.
Let me tell you that. Let me show you what I'm saying.
No, stop. It does not work like that.
But I'm go up there.
It does not work like that.
Okay. I'm
sorry that it happened to you.
But Stephanie can ask something before you. Let me ask something before that. When I was going to school at St. George, and I had to take CXC, I had to do I think it was CCSC or something.
Yeah.
So if we had the time, if we had a pass, we had to do CXC at basic, and if we had a credit or distinction, we did it at general.
That's right.
So at that time, I kind of foresee that. How would I walk into somebody workplace, handing them a basic CXC at the time? So what I started to do, at the time was start to turn on CXC. So I had to turn on Spanish, I had to turn on social studies, I had to turn on a lot because I just foresee that I would have to leave school, go to some sort of O-level institution and stuff like that.
What happened to you was unfortunate because you were not given the advice that was needed to guide you. And that happens so much in our schools. It is unfortunate. It happens. I'm sorry that happens. But
in second and third year, even though in first form, the students are doing the
CCSLC.
Yes, from
For
first
math.
form.
Yeah.
So you get.
We are amongst teachers. People may not know what
You got
The Caribbean secondary school leaver certificate.
There you go.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I was trying to talk.
Yeah, that's what it is. They do it from first form. So they get these certificates from first,
When
second,
this was implemented?
about 2-3 years
Yes.
ago.
That was the last administration.
Okay.
Yes.
Break the pulse.
I want to touch on something y'all spoke about graduation and leaving school, what's not. So I can address my point.
But no, I just wanted to finish. I
Let
wanted
me
to
finish
finish,
and then
finish
come
this
over to-
point about CXCs first,
Mhm.
and about students not being entered for CXC. I do not want the public to have the wrong perception
That's right.
about what happens in schools, because teachers do not enter students for CXC.
Who does it?
The student enters themselves.
But I was
They
not.
pick a
And
subject.
hang on, and I will explain to you how the student enters themselves. Because when you get into full form, this is what I'm not saying that this happens at every school. This is what should happen.
Oh, it's
You're
like
placed. It's unfortunate, and I apologize. Right? You are placed in options, and the options relate to your careers.
Okay.
You are given the syllabus. You are given an outline of how you will be graded, what the SBA components are. You are given a timeline. Your teachers will tell you when the deadlines are.
Yes,
They
yes,
will
that's
give
right.
you when they will
That's
give you
right.
extensions if there are extenuated circumstances.
That's right.
And we communicate this with parents. And I will
Over and
speak
over.
from experience. But I have called parents. I have went to my principal's office when students have not completed SBAs, and my principal will call parents and say, "But they had this work to do on X time. They did not submit. They did not submit. Why?"
You got a U, man. You got a U.
But Stephanie got to add to that. No, every subject has.
SBA
Every
component.
subject
So
has
the
an
SBA
SBA
component.
component.
That
Only
Yes.
one or two hard,
Only one or two
hard,
hard.
yeah.
And you
Yes.
cannot do
You
CSC
can't get away from it.
unless
You
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 Yeah.
cannot
Yeah,
pass.
SBA.
You can't pass.
You can't pass. You got a
Can't
U.
pass.
You
Upgraded.
can't pass
Upgraded. You gotta
unless
upgrade
you
it.
submit.
So you
those
have to do this
SBAs.
SBA.
So you have to be disciplined and
Let's go back to
focused.
As a
Yes,
student.
as a student
Well
and
said.
as a parent, it is your responsibility to find out what your child is supposed to be doing at school.
What is required?
When your child comes home and says, "I don't have any homework," what? You always have homework.
Always.
You call the school
But
and find out.
Stephanie, a lot of these parents don't be home.
And I'm saying, you are the parent.
I can't
You
come up
are
with a
the
solution for
parent.
that just
But
now.
I can agree with you on
No,
that.
you are the parent. You have to find out what is going on with your child.
Well said.
What is happening at school. Do you know how many times I have called parents? "I need to see you."
They come
Don't turn.
You see the
Some
first
come.
one.
Some of them, some
Oh,
don't.
so maybe you don't excuse.
But they will. You know when they will come?
When
Something
Happen.
horrible
That's
happens.
Or if they want block.
Then they come then because they ain't gonna mess with me or my principal and that is so. Right?
It's school about security too. You know?
You'd be surprised how sometimes they bypass the
Boss.
security.
I have seen
Right.
parents
You still
walk
got
on to
part
school
down
with
security
swords.
money.
That's not there.
And the
The
security will
security.
security will tell you, we here to
Watch
Sorry,
it.
Stan.
One of the things that I have observed is that we generally believe that because a person is a parent, they know how to parent. You know, that's a big assumption that.
And I'm glad that you brought that up because I will go back to the fact that sometimes when we speak to these parents, we realize that they have challenges.
Yeah.
And we will make recommendations. And we will send them to specialists and we will make appointments.
True.
Yeah, they're hard, Mom.
Sometimes they go, sometimes they don't go.
How do they take the news from you instead of,
Some parents are very supportive. Again, verbal support and then it being reinforced with the action
Probably
is
do
something
directly
totally
different.
different.
And you
Yeah, Jeremy, let me, before you get your
go.
question, let me get it, Kimar,
You're Kimar.
and then we will go from there.
Yes, sir.
You remember what you had to say?
Yeah.
You can be a politician, you know, so don't forget.
Great.
Welcome, Peter, though, and Rafik and Fabian. Welcome.
That's it.
Yeah.
I was speaking in regards to being in secondary school, graduating, and then leaving.
Okay.
While we were in secondary school, to me, I was educated for the past. Right?
Mm.
So when it got to doing CXCs, I wanted to do a specific topic. This topic was gun violence in society.
Okay.
This is a little bit subject.
Social studies, I can tell.
CS.
Social studies.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
CSET.
Oh.
CSET.
Right?
Love social studies.
And my teacher looked at me and said, no, you will never read SBA for me on that.
Why not?
Do a much.
They gave you the topic.
Do a much. But she said to choose, and I chose what you wanted to
Exactly.
do. Right? And she said no, you and this and that. She went on and on and on to discourage me from writing it. To tell me to write on free education in school. Right?
Like if that you had an interest in that.
Yeah, but I say that to say that our current education curriculum is not dealing with the social issues that we have today. And the evidence is there to support it. When children leave school, the unemployment line is just being longer and longer and longer and longer and longer and longer.
Can you blame that on the school system?
But hold on. Right? So if we look at Barbados today, we have a lot of UWE educated people.
A lot of graduates.
You have people who went overseas to come back here, still can't get work.
Yeah.
A lot of the kids leaving secondary school still don't get work, and if they get work, it's in a supermarket or a gas station or what's not, based on CXC. People tell you CXCs don't mean nothing nowadays. So my thinking is, what are we doing with kids in school to prepare them
for the 21st century
outside
learning
of the school walls?
Right.
Let me speak on that, right? Because you raised some valid points and some points that get me irate at times when I really think about them. We have people in society who are adamant that the only careers that are respectable
Lawyers, doctors.
are lawyers, doctors, accountants,
engineers. It was those four.
Engineers,
and VE
and stuff like that, right?
That was the four they used to say.
So I agree with you where you said that we're not doing the children any favors when we keep repeating that all the time. When we know we need environmentalists, we know we need farmers, we know we need water
resource
managers.
We need police officers.
We need those too.
Soldiers.
There you go. So there's
even the sanitation service authority workers. We need some of them.
Yeah, no, you don't want to wait for psychiatric picking that garbage.
there's in real.
Nobody ain't gonna get up and tell to aspire to be a sanitation.
No, they're not going to. They're not going to. So what we have now in the Barbadian context is that we have a lot of people who go to university and they come up with their law degrees, their medical degrees, and their accounting degrees, and they just what are they doing?
They can't. That's the thing, but that's where CARICOM, in my opinion, this where CSME.
I use my.
And you being a former CARICOM, Commonwealth, sorry. But what you understand what I'm saying? The freedom of movement within the region now, the way I see the freedom of movement working is that it's supposed to capture those persons where possible, where for you as a Bajan, you would want to probably move to Trinidad and work in a law firm or whatever. If the standard of living is comparable to yours,
you know, this government should have put that in place.
but even more
the former prime minister was the chairman of CARICOM, and he did nothing. The former prime minister was chairman of CARICOM, and he did nothing.
Here's a fact when it comes to CSME. I believe in CSME.
You do?
But yes, I believe in it. Right? And they're looking forward to see in January what can happen will be next 6 months.
Yeah, but
right?
the prime minister taking over.
But here's the thing, right? Here's the reality with this free movement of skilled workers and stuff. Bages ain't going nowhere.
Because our quality of life.
Yes, a lot of Bages will not leave
and go
to other
Listen.
And then too, Bages are not naturally like some of the others as migratory.
No,
so you like for instance, you can anywhere in the world. Yes, people say find a Bajan, but you might find more Jamaicans though.
That's right.
Or more Ghanaians.
I know Bajan and Iraq teaching.
Yes, but what I'm saying is that even though you got the free movement, I cannot see a lot of Bajans leaving to go to some of the other.
So what would be the solution then?
You could take that as far as the businesses. How
That's
many
right.
businesses do you see leaving Barbados to expand?
Outside the automotive
No, don't talk foolishness. Don't talk foolishness. As a young businessman who touch both regional and international, let me tell you, you can't, even in some cases, for Barbados to sell music on the international scene is hard. There's no open market. If you find that Trinidadians, and that's where you have a lot of conglomerates that are within from Trinidad here, and not necessarily here,
Barbados there, yeah.
or anywhere, because sometimes to get out is so difficult.
But Barbados and the prices is doing very well.
But that's a one-off. That's a one-off because you would reason why got out and never get away with a lot of is because of the large investment.
Williams Industries.
I know.
I can list the whole
Jermaine, those are based on investor. Listen, alright, stop.
Let Jermaine finish.
You know Barbados National Bank?
You
remember when I had Barbados National Bank?
When it was sold.
Yes.
Before it was sold.
Barbados National Bank before it was sold by both the Barbados Labour Party and the
Alright, you get my point.
Right?
You did finish it out.
Yes, they did.
Fair enough.
Right? Owned a 20% stake in, I think, the National Commercial Bank of St. Lucia. And when Republic Bank bought the Barbados National Bank, one of the main reasons that they were interested in getting the Barbados National Bank was because of investments that the Barbados National Bank had made outside of Barbados. And I want to say, hold on, let me continue. Let me finish, right? Because that companies may not necessarily rebrand like how Massey did in Barbados and Ansamakawa.
But that was because of
a lot of Barbadian companies enter into strategic partnerships with partners within the region.
That's right.
They own small shares here, there, and everywhere.
So you going back to what I was saying. You cannot only look at it from an investment point of view. There's none of Williams equipment in Trinidad. There's no Williams equipment in Guyana. So again, those investors are investing in a company that is making profit year round. That you can't look at that and say, you cannot look at that. And in most cases, as it relates to business, you cannot have a business in a country and then it's all investors are foreigners. You must have a local investor. So what I'm just saying to you is that where we are talking about, even for us to create business, I saw a girl on thing. She said she's in Africa promoting her product. Now, if she isn't in Africa with the product cannot be in Africa without she. So the products are not moving. Yes, we have some people like with Bisco and those, but because again, those people have opened up investorship, those people are on the stock market. So those people can expand. But for an average business in Barbados to really move across,
and that's what we was talking about. We wasn't talking about the biggest companies. We was talking about what we consider the small businesses.
It's hard.
But average one small business from Trinidad that expanded into Barbados.
That what?
Name one small business from Trinidad that expanded into
But here's the thing we may not.
But there's something they expand so small and then they become so big quick.
But think about it, Jeremy. You do finance.
I don't think so, you know.
Yes,
We have to
Don't say that. Germany
You come in using a traditional economic model, a macro model, right? Let's use Massey for example. Then if you use microeconomics and you control you control supermarkets. So now you own delivery trucks. Now you own the agricultural land and you can produce the food for your own supermarket. And you start to control every element in the the supply chain. And that is what companies coming in here do to Barbadians and block Barbadians from actually participating in the own economy. The only way you get to participate if you're buying or if you got a little job there and the money in that town. So the point that we were trying to make is this is not easy for Barbadians to achieve, and for all of these students that we got coming out to our education system every year, just unemployed, just waiting for a job from a foreign dominated
marketplace.
You got to export.
But
exporting the human resource.
Yes, because
but Barbados can't afford to export anybody because we're underpopulated. So you may
listen to me, right? That is one of the things that we need, that we seriously need to look at. Whereas a lot of our young people come out of school, right? Or some of our young people come out of school and they're not thinking that the world is their stage. Listen, see New Zealand, Japan, export, England, Canada. There are certain markets that could take us. The other thing too that I would love to see happen, a lot of Barbadians, a lot of young people that I taught, most of them never had an experience outside of Barbados.
They never traveled.
And one of the things that, and this is where
And
CSC,
fear is.
for me, that's kicking
regional.
through. I believe, right, that when you get to, we should have something set up. Where when you get in, let's say for a form or something, we can start doing exchanges.
But before it was done,
but not so.
Right? Where I can go.
But they come more. Yeah. And they come more than they go in there.
And it decided like a boarding school, just for that experience, that cross cultural experience there, right? But I find too that we just get time. Let me get an example. I write in a book now. Well, it's finished.
What's the name of it?
Letters to the Nation. But here's the thing, right? That is an income stream. There are so many young people out there that can write short stories and all these things and put them up for sale. You could go on Fiverr. Many people, some of you may have skills. You can go on to Fiverr
and get $5 an hour for doing
or 50 US just for doing something that you're good at, right? You got a lot of different opportunities online, but we would prefer to just sit down and apply let's say to be a clerical officer. But you know what? Here's the thing: you could actually offer that service online. Type in
CVs and documents. You know, funny enough, I doing it.
There are other options out there. I just want
Let
me answer first.
What I was going to say is that in many cases, people do not know.
It is
ignorance,
right? They don't.
Honestly, don't know.
They really don't know.
Yeah, that's true.
So we have to then educate the people and provide these platforms where they are able to access the information. Another thing too, the young people, they're always on social media. They're always on the internet.
Doing themselves.
But they're not using the internet
to empower
themselves or productivity. So Corey just called a website I never heard
Fiverr. I use it
in my life.
You gotta be in technology.
But no, I'm gonna go home
we can look and find out
about it, because if it's something that can benefit the young people, I should know about it.
It's putting skills online.
Listen, this was done.
But the next thing to
putting skills online.
I realize this is our curriculum in school.
This is it.
We teach children right now how to go and look for a job.
To be employed, we don't teach entrepreneurial skills
at all.
We don't.
But it's entrepreneurship. It's also still a mindset. Huh? I remember when I left school.
It is.
I was selling when I was in school, right?
What were you selling?
I was selling Bobby,
I'm sure.
I sell
whatever.
I had a student in my class.
I sell it.
I ain't calling him a hustler, because some children ain't got no choice but to come school.
True. That's right.
Sell.
I got $6 to the school. My mother had 4 boys. $4 was bus fare.
And you had a
and $2 left. But everybody brought into it in a choke.
And this primary school now?
This secondary. And if everybody brought into a choke. Yeah, he got $6. Right? But you probably lived in close to school.
I get
but
I had a lunch.
I had a a lot of people didn't know St. John was actually one of the first secondary school that started to give out free school meals. And I had a tech school meals, and it was getting half of a roti a day. Whoa. Not a whole roti.
Why they give you half of a roti?
Because other people had to get half though.
So they cut the roti.
They cut the roti and when they cut, and they
I thought here this was
half of an orange or half of a banana.
What? That's not supposed to happen.
I was just telling you.
That's going to be good.
No, but that's not supposed to happen.
As a teacher, but being in the system, this does not even sound
real. No.
This don't sound real.
I have to go to school. Is it secondary school?
Yes. We have school. Listen, we have school meals.
But you know what? You know where school meals for you all in some is very discreet. In my days, everybody see you because guess what? The canteen lady there and our lady here. So everybody see you in this lane, and you can see everybody. No, nowadays like on school boards, I think it's very discreet. Because the teachers don't give you things to canteen and stuff.
You're supposed to deal with it as well?
No,
the teachers could deal with it, or the principal could deal with it. But here's what.
Louis Lynch, for those who are watching, Louis Lynch was a school that we once had.
And the students
also known as Robert.
The students was more students we had to.
But I will tell you something. Taking school meals at Graydon Steely is a cool thing.
Well, it was cool back then for me.
Because let me tell you, ain't nothing worse than being hungry.
Correct. You don't want your belly burn.
For students that I have in my class, when they were a little apprehensive at first, I said, what? Well, I know how much school meals I eat in primary school. Let me go. And I would go with them. And I get these school meals and all we would come back to my
Let me ask a
room.
question about your school meals. The schools I taught at that had school meals, they were served in these nice white containers, just like same containers.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
We have the same white
sure.
containers.
I ain't
So
got
when
it
you
on
go to
here.
class, nobody didn't know
No, we
that
have
it was
the
school
same
meals.
I get you Rolly and
Yeah.
still and you see Rolly bag
We
day.
have the same
You everybody
containers.
gonna see Rolly getting handy. You
No,
everybody
we
gonna
don't
see.
have that.
But it was that different. But on the end of the entrepreneur, because I used to get a little bit of money, I had to. And then this is another thing. This might be another comment. It forced me into bullying people. So I had to now take away people money to support myself. But what I did, I didn't want to take it away for too long. So when I took away money, I go and buy Sahelis and Tongue Day every party. I buy my bobbies and my lollies, and I started to sell. To the point too that it made me aggressive. That when people was coming by the late people holding class, yo, to a man, a bobby. I said, come in the class. Don't talk to you to know when the.
Oh, you had no fear.
Because I had to pay. Plus, the teacher tell me straight, because at St. John, the time the teacher would pull the girls around the teacher table, and the boys used to have to sit like that. So as far as I'm concerned, they didn't have a class. Yeah. Because the girls was to the front, and I used to call them girls that eat chicken wing with forks. To the front, right? Because that's what they used to eat. Very great. And we was to the back. The teacher wanted nothing to do with me. So some teachers will come in and give you the option now, in or out. Choose. Oh, and
So it's not free. Let me find a little balance here, right?
No,
Because
the balance that you are hard here, you are hard here.
All right,
but here's the thing is, I never said we didn't want to learn, because I was the top Spanish student in my school. I got speech award for being the top Spanish student in my school.
So there was something that you were interested in.
So, but they think that every time you come in, you cannot equate that every time you come in the class you can behave bad.
No, let's get back to the topic, which is discipline, right? Because that teacher prejudged you
every step of the way, even after school and out of school.
Exactly. So because you may have, you sell your bobbies and stuff like that. Let me know what you're selling your bobbies.
True,
and
to
stuff
support
like
you.
that.
No need
But
assessment was done.
The teacher's job is to teach and to teach every single child that's in that classroom. So I have a set scratch in my hair.
But you know, even Stephanie, by rolling, if I roll with this group here, you are also condemning, no? Because you roll with this group here.
That's human perception. That's human behavior, right? But at the end of the day, the teacher's job is still supposed to teach the child who is disruptive in class.
Stephanie, I think there's also, I had experience it at my school, I was only trying time, and I can say that some teachers there's a cultural thing going on in certain schools, and teachers roll with that. For example, I had a teacher that taught, I think it was Spanish, and I attempted in full form, and she came from Parkinson School. Now, Lunich is supposed to be known as not one of the schools that's supposed to be bad behaved. In my time, the bad behaved schools like St. Leonard, St. George, St. James, those kind of schools. So she came from Parkinson, which is one of the schools that's supposed to have got bad behaved.
Yeah.
Remember one day we were in class, it was like after lunch, and a student had said, I like to go to the bathroom. Normally at Lunich culture, go to the bathroom, you go, you come back.
Yeah.
She told the girl no. We were like, everybody was like, no? It was foreign to Lunich school, no? She was like, the student was like, no. She was like, no. The student left the classroom, went to the bathroom, also went to another teacher, I don't know what went on.
Yeah.
Next class I had a big meeting. Principal come down, had a meeting, what was going on.
Yeah.
And all the children obviously say what happened.
Yeah.
At the end of that teacher did not last the term. That teacher came with the culture from Parkinson School into
But you see what?
And that
that's very
because I
found out refused to climatize.
At Parkinson School, when the students go to the bathroom, they came back.
See, that's what she's accustomed to.
Yeah,
but you can't.
But when you come for a job, you gotta get some sort of assessment or some sort of idea what the school is.
But that
teacher should have also been guided. She should have been placed. She should have been
placed.
Yeah,
she was guided straight through doing that.
Yeah, but that is wrong because you don't know she has gone into another school.
She could have potential.
She was still be attracted to the other school. You see,
which is why you need to have mentorship programs in place for teachers.
I believe it. But I believe that St. George should have had a lot of mentorship, because in my days, what I saw too, that I think contributed in some way good and some way bad, was there was a lot of new teachers, young teachers
Yeah, sure.
that were trying. Even students, students that left school at 17 or 18. You know, back then they could carry the school long system, and you come back in, and that corrupted because we like, boss, you was in my class last week. You say, idiot. Yeah, I can't tell me that. And then you had young teachers that were very physical, very aggressive with us, because back in St. George in those days, nobody afraid to thump. You know, if you thump me, the teacher can get thumped. Don't let the teacher. That was how aggressive the school was at that time.
But they were untrained.
No, because again, it was young. They were young just the same way as us, and a lot
So
of
my
interchange
question
things.
to the teachers: how do you become a teacher? And how do you become a teacher? How do you become a teacher? And if we could define that path that takes from being a regular citizen to being a teacher, I think we could solve a lot.
There's no one path.
There's no one path.
There's
What
no
I can
one
say is that the ministry has no implemented policies which state that you're not supposed to enter the classroom
without going to
Earliston and being trained in
Yeah,
the pedagogy and
introductory.
the theories that will enable you to be an effective teacher in the classroom.
Correct.
But you see,
Right.
you say that I also got. All right. So this is good because it protects, but I also got issues with it because here's the thing. I know in some countries you cannot be a teacher unless you're going to do
Early childhood education or
like
something.
the BA or some
In education.
in education. Well, here's the thing. There are many people who came into teaching after the first term realize teaching is not for me.
Yeah.
So you can imagine somebody went and sit down for 2 years at Earliston or 2 years or
When
3
you're
years,
associate degree
get
and so
all
on.
of this stuff to be a teacher. And when they get there, they realize, whoa, this is not.
But according after that, I realized no.
But that's
Even
So that's what I'm saying.
That's like going to work at the bank and deciding, okay, any other job. You decide at the end of the day whether you're going to stay in that profession
But the
or
difference
you're
is,
going
the
to move
difference
on.
No, I'm not
is
saying I'm
like,
against.
you
I'm
can
not
get-
against
I mean, you can have your degree
having
in
training.
right? And come into the bank and say, no, this ain't for me, and then move on and play your trades and business.
You can
But
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 Stephanie,
if you have a BA in education or a BA in teaching, more or less, you
But
education
Education is not limited to
Thank
only
you.
teaching.
It's not
But
limited to only teaching.
Stephanie was saying as well is that a lot of teachers, and I say that because I sit boards and stuff. I find that when there's opportunity now for a lot of senior teaching positions, senior positions, a lot of teachers don't want it.
No, they don't.
I see.
Do you know why?
It's never clear why.
You
But
should,
I do
if you're sitting on a board of management for a school, you should query why.
No, meaning that there's so much different reasons
I tell you what,
behind
I
why.
would tell you
There's so much
Exactly.
reasons. Why just be careful
Exactly.
because.
Yeah, I understand.
But at the
I
end
am
of
on
the day,
board,
there's
so
so
I
much
can-
teachers are
I am
saying
not on the board, so I can tell you. I can
Both
just
of y'all?
give you. I can just give you one. Right?
We're gonna just excuse the Simon Ali and
But before Samuel, even though Samuel was the head boy at Calmere and also teacher at Calmere, I was able to give you experience in moving from being a student into a teacher.
But that was years later.
Yes.
Yes.
you didn't do a rollover.
No, it didn't.
No, I didn't. I was in disaster
You were
management.
disaster
Yes, exactly.
For my master's in
That's- I was
nursing
just gonna
management
say
and planning.
that.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
He was
So
at
I was
the
there.
end, remember?
For like 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
So you said your
approximately
master's in what?
emergency management and planning.
So you said disaster.
Disaster management.
He's a disaster, you know.
No.
And
He's
sociology,
in perfect
social
form
studies.
because they got a lot of disasters against them because they're partying.
Oh my God!
The man
Oh my
that
God!
is not even
Simon!
called.
Plan that.
We will talk.
You must have-
Support, brother. He normally pull on kind of support.
Mr. Worrell?
You cannot come on the show and not get your political punches. You cannot come on the show and not get your political punches. You cannot come on the show and not get your political punches.
So when you walk straight into
Straight
that,
into it.
I know.
It's like he was waiting
Why have
for
you
it.
been
He
doing that?
was waiting.
I
Oh my
know, I was
God!
getting this thing.
All the best fellas.
You too.
I think that's-
So just on the thing, I said that because I know that's one of the things that we wanted to touch on as well as it relates to discipline, the bullying and what's not. And as I said, for me in school, it was kind of, even though you had a choice, I feel like it was kind of forced because of the limited money you had, and limited whatever. I know that was something big in schools in terms of bullying, and it's still huge. I know that I think that they should have a little bit more programs pushing around bullying and bullying prevention and stuff like that.
There's a lot going on in schools.
What I find out in schools too, though, Corey, is that I find that there's a lot of repetitive programs within schools, just labeled differently. When I say that, I remember working. No, I remember working with Crime Stoppers, and I remember going into schools talking about behavioral changes and modifications and different. And I worked with Crime Stoppers for just almost a year, and then I realized that while I was there was similar organizations doing similar programs through the what you call it now, the HFLE, but they were just so similar. It was just that you were filling the children with so much talk shop that I felt that I had somewhat little to no effect on them, rather than we should have gotten a little bit more practical into stuff. So even with Crime Stoppers, the teaching technique that we had to be different. You had to have a lot of practical in it, like getting up and saying, look, pretend you bash your head and pretend she bash your head and get in a squabble and then talk it out. So it had to be a lot more, the theory had to go, and the practical had to stay, in a sense, for these children to really get over or understand. And I feel that as it relates to bullying, and I feel as it relates to another program in school, I'm finding too much repetitive, same old program.
I can't say that I agree with that. I can't say I agree with that. What I will say is this. We now have a new HFLE syllabus.
What HFLE stands for?
Health and Family Life Education.
Back formula, what we used to call
guidance, right? That is different for first, second, third, fourth, and fifth.
This one is which one? Because you have one that, let me tell you.
This is a new one for the ministry.
How new is new?
Well, I got it at the beginning of the academic school year.
This school year?
Yeah.
So that got me new because you had one before that. Like, oh boy, man.
But what I will say is this.
I want a copy.
No, I will email it to you.
Very cool.
You can laugh. Anyhow, what I will say is this. We have guidance counselors in schools, and
not enough.
We may not have enough, but what I will say is this. The role of the guidance counselor is to create plans, individual plans, or implement methods for these students who may be, we don't like to say that they are at risk or problematic children. What I have found in my experience is that we have children who have challenges, and you refer them to the guidance counselor. There is no update. They don't come back and tell you, what was the finding? They don't come back and tell you, okay, this child is on hormonal medication, which is affecting their behavior. They may be they'll come back and tell you anything. There are no updates or anything like that. So you have children who sometimes acting out in classes.
And only guidance counselor no way.
Sometimes
children go to psychiatric hospital.
Absolutely, we have a lot of children
every 2 weeks for counseling.
Yes,
medication.
Yes. And teachers are not informed.
So do you believe then that when children are getting...
But no, I'm not saying that you have to divulge
but they could be broken
all
down,
the information. But I'm saying that if a child is depressive or cutting, we have a lot of cutters in secondary schools.
Absolutely. No, not cutting. Like to cut the
hold on. Is it mainly females?
Yes.
You mean the cutting?
Yeah.
Cutting is among the
and you see a lot of it for sure around church.
That's a method that females use to
do it.
It's a lot amount. We had a
when men will lash out.
Do with pain?
Yes.
Women
A lot of children who are abused or who are depressed, having problems at home, they cut.
And they will come to school.
And I say this all the time.
Very aggressive.
We have children.
Even adult females.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Children come to school for 2 reasons. They come to learn, and they come for love.
Come for help. Yeah. Wow.
I say that. People may get upset with me, but that is my experience.
That's the same reason why they will go to the blocks.
Exactly, Kimar.
I want to put it from both Stephanie and Corey now, given that you're both the teaching professionals, what would you do different to what is being done now in the school system?
In terms of discipline or in terms of facing?
Well, this one, discipline, and number 2, the issues that you just highlighted.
Listen, in terms of in discipline in school, that as we said at the beginning, there are so many reasons why children
do what they do.
Do what they do. We have to identify the roots, the triggers that are, absolutely we have to assess them, and we also have to remember that they are children.
Before you go further, you believe that this assessment should start from in primary school?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. One of my concerns is we're speaking about both of y'all teach at secondary schools. It doesn't start there.
No.
We have secondary schools guidance counselors at secondary schools. We do not have any at primary schools.
That is not true.
We do?
That is not true.
At certain schools.
They're
They're not called. They don't call them guidance counselors, but they're psychologists and counselors who visit primary schools.
They're not stationed.
As they're called. They're not stationed there.
Right, and that's the difference between being called and being there.
Stephanie, right? Even though that's the case, right? And I've written about this, so let's say
thousands of children.
Right? Watch it. I'm a parent. It's me and my wife.
Okay.
I got support from my father-in-law, my mother-in-law, my mom, my brother, my sisters. Right? I got a lot of support, and it's 4 children. Right? And me and my wife is still feel like we're losing it.
Yeah.
No.
How old you are?
37.
Okay.
Right?
He's young. He's a young family man.
All right. Now here's the thing. I am 37.
They look so though.
It's both my wife and I.
That could have been a compliment.
It's both my wife and I. Plus the support that we have. And
yes.
it's so hard to still be a parent.
Imagine not
But
having
we
support.
put one guidance counselor to 800
Yeah.
students. I just want you to think, just think about that. Right?
But hang on, no, and that would be incorrect. That would be incorrect. The one guidance counselor does not deal with 800.
No, right. So let me right. But what I'm saying,
which is why they need to be more effective.
When I say 800, I don't mean 800 students coming to the semester. But if there are 800 students in the school, the responsibility of the different needs of those children still fall to the guidance counselor. But the guidance counselor themselves, to me, it is still a lot for them to deal with.
Let me tell you something. We had a guidance counselor at Garrison School, Greater City, by the name of Dolores Codrington.
You sure you want to call names? Are you sure?
Yes.
If you know what you call names, come on.
Dolores Codrington, right? Has to be one of the most effective, impactful, professional, phenomenal.
When you're Miss Barker, bro.
Absolutely, add her.
What the Miss Barker?
She's still there?
She's not there. She's retired. She
Okay.
retired. But the reason I say that, and I mentioned Mrs. Codrington, is that, listen, the same challenges that we have in the educational system, now we will always have, because we will always have problematic children. We will always children who come from abuse environments and stuff like that, right? But what she was able to do as guidance counselor was to address the issues, was to inform the teachers, empower us as to how we need to relate to these children. The yelling thing don't work all the time. The beating thing don't work. The putting them outside does not work. I remember watching Miss Codrington. She had a list of, and this was even when we had school meals. There were some children who just did not want. She would have their list, the names, and she would take them to the canteen. Because some children, I kid you not, you just want what other children have.
Okay.
You want to feel normal, and it's not about it, and it isn't about you having to. You don't have to do it, but you want to do it because you want those children to feel as though they're part of a community, and a school is a family.
Yeah.
Regardless if you like it or not.
Regardless of whether
fight with one, you can fight with all.
Exactly. So as guidance counselor, you have to make yourself the go-to for those children who are having these challenges.
But Stephanie, what I always had preferred, me personally, is that just like how government has the statutory organization, and I believe that the guidance counselor, there should have been a guidance counselor department of government where it is set up where the students could go. Let's say it is like the building in town. let's say what the old Treasury building, one a government building, where it is equipped with psychologists, guidance counselors, or whatever. And this is, we're not talking about Eddie Nichols punishment thing.
I get you.
And the students, it has multiple rooms, and students could go there, whether it be after school programs or whatever, and they be taught, or they be, no, it's not here, and they be effectively, and the parent has to go, and you have to make it that it's mandatory that you and the whole, even if it's the household, because if it is not just about one person in the household affecting it, but it's also and it should be attached to the child care board. So that they find out.
But what I will say though is that at the Ministry of Education we do have psychologists, and we do have we have psychologists.
Minister, you got one psychologist.
That's what I hear.
We have.
I remember because I had to take someone to that one psychologist
we
when
have
they could get an appointment.
Psychologists, but underneath the psychologists, there are other trained.
But Stephanie, we have
really
Stephanie,
because when I was going there, I could only find one.
All right,
No,
Stephanie,
that's
I realize that we have a large amount of graduates that come out with social workers degree, especially from the university. And the reason why is because sometimes they call me in to tutor some of these students, right? And they know that I've been told that the largest persons that graduate from the university are within that social worker,
Social science.
yeah. So that's what I am saying to you, that having get some of these people.
It's an excellent idea.
But the idea that many people
it's an excellent
idea.
idea.
I think
Well, it's not the financial resources.
was talking about it as well, because this is
Well,
there you go. So again, it's prioritized.
Yeah. With the program that the government is doing, where they're offering people the students the $600.
You talking youth advance
The youth advance, yeah.
I mean, every government wants it. They
can
attach that in there, and that could be a way that they wouldn't have to spend any money.
I went and visit the youth advance court, and they have counselors in there, and I saw the children. I mean, even during the day, famous part of that. Going in and the students are meeting with the social workers. Now, what I want people that are watching to understand is that a lot of the roles that you hear me talking about, teachers actually do.
Absolutely.
So people expect that teachers. I have no idea. Teachers are police, social workers, nurses, doctors, lawyers, mediators, negotiators, GoFundMe.
No, we won't say parents, because parents. I remember making a post on somebody very prominent said, "No teacher can't parent my child."
But teacher parents their child every day from 8 to 3.
There you go. Right?
Yeah,
but some people get offended when you say,
sometimes the teacher does the job even
Even
better
better.
than the actual parent.
I've gotten phone calls at 2 o'clock in the morning from students.
yes.
Kid you not?
Yes.
I have gotten phone
When
calls
they trust you, absolutely.
Listen, I get a phone
Absolutely.
call from a parent, a child that told me, a child called me about 2 o'clock in the morning, and I checked my phone, and the child was like, "Sir, I'm bleeding." And it's like,
You bleeding?
"Listen, I'm bleeding." I was like,
Probably had a menstrual for the first time. or something.
"No."
No? Oh Lord.
I said, "What, you bleeding?" I said, "Who's home?" My
Miscarriage or
aunt. I
something.
said, "What, you don't get your aunt?" "No, sir, you was the first person called." And you know what happened? She had fallen somewhere and she had miscarriage.
Miscarriage.
Oh my God.
And she was a junior
And
student.
she probably did not even have any idea that she was
Right?
pregnant.
So she called me. I've
Yeah.
been called by parents. I received a call about 5 minutes, 12 o'clock, and they, "Mr. Worrell, daughter Joshua, go and get ready to kill you." No, I'm serious.
Oh, Josh was in the disgust.
Right? I've been to homes to help. I've been to homes.
So I want to ask you, how you react to a situation like that? Because that's a very interesting situation.
But there was normal situation
That's
with
a normal
teachers.
situation.
I was
Especially if you have a relationship with the parent.
I was teaching at school, right?
Uh-huh.
I was standing up. I'm that teacher that even though I teach it, as soon as I then put something board, I get a door stand up because I'm monitoring corridors.
Yeah.
That's me.
Okay.
What are you doing on the corridor? "Oh, you're not going to class. Come in my class." A girl walked up to me, tears in her eye, fourth form girl, just crying. She said, "Sir, I need to talk to you." I said, "All right." I sat in my class. I stepped out the class. I said, "What happened?" She said, "Sir, I need to talk to you. My mother just tried to kill me." And then the girl opened her shirt like this.
Ooh,
and
show you all
showed
the
me
scars.
all the scars. She, you know, so they know. Remember, I still got these theories dealing with. Now I got this situation, but guess what? I got 2 or 3 or 4 other situations dealing with. You know, when so that's just for one class, you know. That got nothing to do with my class itself. Where a student can come to me and say, sir, my mother and my father girlfriend for. I had a boy in my class. Every day the boy would come school late and he would go straight to sleep. First one, straight to sleep. Other teachers complain this boy sleeping in my class. So what I would do is tell him we can eat lunch together. So we sat down. You know what the problem is? The police is going to his house almost every night because he mad at father before he even 1 o'clock in the morning.
Oh my God!
So he's up all that
all
time.
night because he can't sleep because he think the money and get stabbed up or the father and get stabbed up. So and these are things that teachers deal with. And I used to be at school at 7:15. And I would leave school sometimes 5:30, 6 o'clock. No, I didn't have to do SBS, so I don't want to hear that story. Because all of Easter, in my opinion, teachers is that to deal with SBS.
And it's true.
And that's not just correcting or getting them ready. That's driving them for field work. That's, you know, so teachers go through a lot. And on the discipline part, one thing I learned, because I learned from also watching older teachers. One thing that I've learned, do not care what no child tells you or shows. Children desire discipline. No, not desire lashes. Understand?
No,
difference.
discipline, structure.
Order, rules.
Yes.
They desire it.
Yes.
When I first came back as a missionary, and I went to teach at Dayton, I was that cool teacher. I had locks. I was muscular. You know, dressed cool and thing. And I was friendly with the students. And then I realized it was the teachers that were firm first, and then cool after. I get all respect. The teachers that never allow you to break the rules. I mean, I would see the teachers come and get hug up and kiss up. Basically, cool teachers, no respect for them. And those older teachers, I saw that. I started to model that from those older teachers. But one of the things I realized from discipline too is the statement I made, and Stephanie started on it. There's a lot of reasons behind why children do the things they do. I've had children that disrespect. I've had children that cast stink in the classroom.
How you handle that?
I just, answer the question. When class done, it's let me talk.
But it's funny that he mentioned
just
that.
Let me talk.
I have students who would cuss too. But right?
Let me see you.
No. That is what they know. They can't have a conversation unless they.
And Stephanie, if you tell them, I said, but you just cuss.
I don't say for you.
I ain't cuss.
Right, but they know you. They know you so well. Like I've had students say, "Ma'am, I'm so sorry. I mean to disrespect you like that." And I would say, "I know, it's okay."
Yeah, I don't take it
because
personal.
that's the environment they come from.
Stephanie,
and you have to understand that.
It makes teaching sound like a war zone.
No, teaching is not a war zone.
Teaching is one of the most fulfilling jobs that you could ever do.
Nobody make you think that teaching is a war zone or that every job has its difficulties. And let me just drift back to the topic. When we addressing discipline in schools, the only way to address discipline in schools is for the ministry and the schools to be on the same page. And for school administrators or educational leaders to be on the same page with parents. Everybody has to have the shared vision.
So you think right now they aren't on the same page?
Absolutely not.
No.
You can't be on the same page. And I don't want to bring politics into this because this is bigger than politics.
I agree.
But you can't have public figures saying one thing and then issuing memorandums and instructions to the school leaders and in public saying the total opposite. And then when school leaders have to implement these rules and regulations that are handed down from the ministry, you are the villains. But you are just following. If you understand, you are just following.
You would understand that the reason why public officials would come into public domain and say one thing is because of funding obligations by overseas entities who demand that they conform to this publicly.
But why do we always have to conform to things that are not of benefit to our society? We know where we live.
But sometimes, Stephanie, is because I find that even in our society, is sometimes we hire some consultants that don't know nothing about
That
our
don't know
society.
nothing about our
And
society.
don't know nothing. And
Right, and
they
we implement policies from America and Canada,
Yeah.
and
Field
look at their educational systems right now.
Fields.
We ain't going in there with guns and all sorts of things.
mass shooting and all crazy stuff.
Exactly.
Listen, I believe that the educational system, and not I believe, it is known that the educational system is due long time ago or overhaul.
Absolutely.
And here's the thing, I have heard of consultant reports
But don't you think
going
that
back years
started?
to do it. Here's the thing, I believe the Mali administration, because they have the numbers, and they have right now the populace in the science behind them, have the ability to start making
To make changes.
because remember,
Changes
to
have to
change
be-
the education system,
It's
it's
not
not
gonna
happening
be-
in a
it's
one
not
year,
gonna
2
be
year.
1 year, 2 years.
It's a long
long
process.
But you
process.
got to
It's
remember that
needed.
the Minister of Education, while dealing with her sickness,
Her
cancer,
medical challenges,
medical
yeah.
challenges.
But you had a acting
Hold
minister.
up. But that's not.
But
that's
I
not the
think
minister.
Sanjay Bradshaw was doing a good job.
No,
I
like,
think
meaning that the minister was out quite a lot and had.
But you got
minister-
somebody else.
Right.
You had a
But
acting
honestly,
minister, you got a parliamentary
I do
secretary
believe
as
that
well.
the work that she's been able to do over this short period of time has been tremendous. I think that she know that she's back home fully functional, fully. I will
Yeah,
be
she's
home
gonna
more
do a good
often.
job.
This
I
is
believe
not
that
about,
she'll
this
be-
is not about questioning
I mean,
her leadership.
leadership.
But it's
or
also
anything
no,
like
it's
that.
also bringing that policies and things that would strip a lot of the old.
Let me give you an
that is
example.
within the
Let me give you an
education
example.
seriously
Right?
needs to go.
I had an opportunity. I taught at Codrington,
Okay.
private school, right? Being up there was a culture shock for me
It is.
of how schools
Should.
like that does run
Yes.
compare
To public
No,
schools.
public school. And let me tell you, I don't understand why those children is be so far ahead.
Yes.
I taught at Codrington, I think in 2011 for a year. I watch what would be the equivalent of class 4, I think that's PYP 8.
Yeah.
They had a renewable energy project or something like that. I watch Avinash Prasad boys and a girl build a car that is work off us.
So long.
That's all about. A torchlight. I just put the torchlight over the car. I went to move the car.
They move.
The car moving. I watch primary school children walk, well, PYP, which is what we would call primary school. Doing PowerPoint, have PowerPoint presentations.
But no, Corey.
I watch. I listen. When I was
Corey,
there,
You
Steph,
never
Corey.
sent to Codrington?
No,
Listen.
hold on. Go ahead. But I'm saying, public school systems, we don't have the luxury of those
The
small
resources too.
classes,
I
and
good.
we don't
I
have
was gonna add all of
those
that.
resources.
The resources. Listen,
Right.
being up there, I remember I stood in a staff meeting. I think it was a staff meeting, and I told the principal at the time, I felt I was there to teach, but I felt as if I didn't went to school.
Yeah.
I honestly felt I was a teacher. You understand me? Listen, when I got there, the other thing, let me get an example. Teachers have their own rooms.
Yes. they
I
do.
had my own room, and the students came to me. I was able to pick the books that I wanted to do. I was able to
Yeah.
pick the calculators I wanted the children to buy. I was able to change up the room to suit me.
Yes.
I had a whiteboard that stretched from all the way out there, all the way over here. All these things, Mr. Worrell, what resources you
Definitely
need
send
to
me.
get the job done.
Fantastic.
The other thing too, to give you an example, I got introduced to Moodle. I got this and everything, homework, sent over the internet. It's about $40,000 for non-nationals, $42,000 for non-nationals, around 37 for regionals, and
30,000.
1,000 or 100
27,000
per year?
per year per child. Yes, I think that's what it was when I was there.
It's
For a
26,000
year.
plus?
A year. It's maybe I talk about that. You could go and check on the website.
I
right?
was- I was-
I remember it does international baccalaureate,
Yeah, the bachelorette program.
which is
They go
Was it-
straight into university.
hurt my head. At the diploma level, they go.
Yeah.
I think they get skipped.
Yeah, they go
They
straight,
skip and go straight into
into
university.
university.
But being up there, classroom size is 15.
15, no larger
Right?
than 15.
The other thing that had me, I remember sitting down on mornings and getting emails from parents.
Yes.
And a parent will send me an email, and the parent will say, "Hi, Mr. Worrell. I just want to let you know, if you see Ben acting up, just call him name, right? If you see Ben acting up or a bit reserved, his dad and I had a big fight this morning."
Whoa.
No, I'm serious. I would get an email. John is taking medication
Yes.
for
Yep.
I mean, parents used to keep you updated
Informed.
with everything. Form level meeting, boss. Form level
Every
meeting.
parent would attend.
Mommy, daddy, granny,
Everybody
godmother.
would attend.
I mean, listen, it was
You gotta be on point.
boss. It was
He had a whole family.
it was a different. It was completely different.
But note, Corey, note that those people are, a lot of them are diplomats. A lot of them are highly intelligent. They have
A lot of them
stuff
is
like that.
very wealthy people too.
Exactly. So
Business owners,
taking that
hotel
into context
owners.
already, that experience
Expectation of the parents.
exactly will be totally different than the students that we will encounter.
And probably because you're grooming that child to be the next CEO.
Exactly.
But I be
Will be
realistic.
different
I
from
left.
in our
I
primary
left
and
there.
secondary
I
school.
left there. I told the principal that y'all don't need me. I told the principal that. I said you don't need me. I said. I told my wife. I came back to my schools. I got students kind of school with knives. Students that get busted
Those are
head.
the ones that
students
need
that
us.
want to stab you. I said, listen, those are my students.
Those
You
are
was
the
really
ones
going to
that
go
need
by a
us.
block. I beg a block man. That fella owe you a little 500. Hold on there. Clear that debt. Let me carry school this child.
So PYP
Teachers are doing right here.
fees could start from a US 5,000 and up to 11,000 US.
That's what I told you. Yes, I told you that's our money.
Gone up.
$5,000 US is decent.
That's
11,000.
that's for in German. We're over 20,000 in my country. Just kidding. But close there. What do you all think about the nickel sensor?
Listen.
You mean you want to keep pocketing at children now?
I went there. No, sorry. No,
Let
let me
When
respond.
I was in school, right?
I never went there, but I have done workshops
Yeah,
there.
I remember that when they had this straight rule. And they hit 3 strikes one point in time.
Until you don't come back.
No, they come in the guy and they'll single.
Oh.
You right? For 2 weeks.
Me? Nah, I tell them straight. Nah, I ain't doing it. Until I got a good Queen's part, I meet people. I was like, I ain't doing it. I know people. So I start calling them names that I know. I was like, I ain't doing it. And the Minister of Education, at that time was the current Prime Minister, Miss Miriam Motley. And I called her name too. You know people.
So you were defiant.
So therefore, I was told to go to the guidance counselor. Unfortunately,
You should have gone to guidance counselor first before they referred you to.
fortunately for me, well, the teacher at that time, she was a jackass. And she's a jackass and she's still a jackass. But anyways, unfortunately for me, the guidance counselor, me, he was good friends. So ain't no way I was going to the medical center.
So there's a friendship thing, though.
Huh?
You think, okay,
In life it is.
again, right?
Because you just saw all your friends there.
Perception of discipline. Being sent to the Edna Nichols School is often a last resort, or should I say it should be a last resort. It isn't that a child gets into a fight and they send you down there. No, this child would have had to been problematic over a period of time.
But what I think that people don't have to understand about it, because it has it does a psychological assessment on the student that it reports back
They
to
also
school.
do drug testing.
And it reports it back to the principal.
Yes.
Got workshops.
You have
So therefore,
workshops.
in my 3 choice, I need to go there. And there was a teacher that when I called my father or whatever, if any issue at school, she asked me one day how it is like my parents don't raise so fast. So she actually needed to get in this and everything.
No, but you broke protocol.
Supposed to get your
You,
principal.
if you wanted to talk to your parents, you should have called. You should have gone to guidance counselor. You could even go to a form teacher, right? And explain it to
It's a defiant young man.
teachers. If I knew any of my students was in trouble, if I know somebody getting a fight, somebody office, Miss Worrell coming, and they going and they get asked the student, tell me what happened.
But that's
And
the
that,
thing.
that's me.
That's the power and the
But
power of a
if
form
you
teacher.
knew as a student, and the student may know these things, so you call your next boy, you know best, your mother or your
But
father.
it's the teacher's responsibility to inform students of what the protocol is.
Well, we didn't
They-
know
like,
that.
because
We don't
there
know
are students I know that had issues with teachers, and they concentrated on Mr. Worrell. And so let me ask you a question. You talk to Miss Chess yet? My mom, Miss Chess, don't let listen. I said, how you know? You talk to Miss Chess yet? They said, no. I said, you need to talk to Miss Chess. If they don't want to talk to Miss Chess, I said, all right, what you do? I can go over you
Exactly.
and we can talk to Miss Chess.
Exactly.
Now, I want people to understand that listening, right? All of this happening while we still got classes to teach. You understand? You and there are some students in schools, and they want, let me say it this way. There are some students in school that anytime they act up, only Miss Chase can go for them.
That's a fact.
For that relationship.
Yes, there are some students in schools where You hear a student get in a fight, they can say, Mr. Worrell, you gotta go and get him.
Yes, that's a fact.
You understand? Now watch it. Miss Chase might be teaching a form for SBA. Miss Chase gonna find a way.
Have to go.
You know what she may do? She may take her phone and send a WhatsApp. Worrell, you free? Come on home in class.
Yeah.
You understand me? Or she may find a former come and sit.
Yes.
Now, here's the thing. That may happen at 10 o'clock. You know Miss Chase may not get back to her class until tomorrow.
And that is a fact.
Yes. She may go to the police station with the child.
And
She may listen. People have no idea.
That has happened. I have been to the police station. I have been to Queen Elizabeth.
Gone in the ambulance with the child.
Yeah, and you have to go.
You gotta go. And the thing is, Miss Chase now, after that child may go home, Miss Chase can go to that child house tomorrow. My God, call on mommy.
Go rate
reports. All of this is happening, and she still got to do standardized tests, correct homework, prepare plans.
Reports.
And I want you to understand that. And then you play this point. Stephanie may have gone to help out with the mother.
Mm-hmm.
The mother calls Stephanie and tells Stephanie the child need medication, and they may got the money. And you know what? And that's what teachers is doing.
That's what teachers
You know, based on what...
I ain't talking about the school money, you know.
No, I understand, but
Their own money.
Based on what you're saying here, right? And it's something that's very commonly known in Barbados. Teachers are not appreciated as much as they ought to be.
And that's why I always believe that they should have when it comes to teachers professional, they should have a big award ceremony for teachers. Yeah. And I don't see why. I've always found that even in the charity sector that we work and we give our thing, we put so much effort into effortless things. Even our governments, over, you know, I'm not just talking about one particular government, but we just find things that are so irrelevant. And I think that if we
majoring on the money,
we equip the teachers, if we equip our teachers more, if we even empower them a little bit more. I mean, people want to feel appreciated.
I am looking forward to seeing if this master teacher
thing. I want to see how it rolls.
Will be coming to effect.
It's something in the Prime Minister.
The Prime Minister one is in Boston.
What is it? Because
the consensus is that when you reach a certain level in teaching, most people will aspire to be an education officer or get a ministry post and stuff like that. But in order to keep the wonderful teachers like Corey, he will become a master teacher, whereas he is paid on the same level as maybe a deputy principal or education officer or something like that. There will be incentives, I'm just using that as an example, but there will be incentives put in place for teachers to remain, the good teachers I should say, to remain in the teaching profession.
So this would, because I know the government also talked about establishing a teachers
commission.
Commission.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm here saying.
This will come under that mission. So this will come under that.
They probably might regulate it.
There are pros and cons of the commission, and before,
is it drafted?
I'm not sure. I heard it's drafted. I can't confirm that, but what teachers need to do is to become aware of what their rights are under a teacher service commission.
But on the teacher services commission, would you move from being a civil servant?
Absolutely, you are no longer a civil servant.
It is. It is Barbados.
No. If you fall under the teacher service commission, you can't be considered. I don't think you could be considered a civil servant.
But you would carry over your years, and you would more or less have seen rights, right?
Maybe not.
You gotta wait for that to come out.
You have to wait to find out because you may be placed under contract. You may be working under contract now.
But I think that's needed. I think that's needed.
I always agree that a lot of the high level paying jobs, especially from permanent secretary.
My daughter had a teacher that hardly came to school. I don't know for whatever reason. Then when she come to school, she, based on conversation, she probably didn't know how to really deal with children.
Okay.
But the class didn't went on as it should.
Yeah.
And this is from my class. She's like most, they have the top class.
Yeah.
I think it was the other one mix.
Yeah.
She's a mix. And this was students that are accustomed to getting 80s, 90s in class. And the grades, everybody, you had a class, no meeting.
This was in primary
school. And everybody complained that all of their children grades dropped.
Okay.
Because that teacher isn't there to give any marks.
Therefore,
this was an older teacher.
Yes, it's an older teacher. Established training system.
Okay.
So having a contract, and we need to do more assessment based on performance of the workers. I ain't gonna mean teachers. I mean all the staff. It's like government.
You know the dilemma with putting teachers on a contract.
What's the dilemma?
Well, I coming from the banking sector, right? And I will speak only from that sector. If you put a teacher on contract, then you now stop that teacher from getting a mortgage. You stop that teacher from getting an unsecured loan for 5 years, a care loan. Because when a commercial institution looks at your job letter, and says Stephanie Chase is employed on the contract at Braden Sealy for a year, which will be extended. But the commercial bank will say you was the letter says will be extended.
There's no guarantee.
But I know people have gone. I know people have gone.
Do you feel that establishing a contract and having that should that prevent you from establishing a contract with teacher because of the fact that you're trying to get rid of all the bad eggs or bad apples, whatever you want to call it?
But there are other ways to do that. There are other ways to get rid of people who are not performing.
Not in the short term. Because the problem is that so what's happening is the problem in Barbados of getting rid of the bad apples is that we do not report. We don't got enough paper trail to say this report was given this weekend.
The employment rates are technically covered because you remember.
Bro, listen, I know I'm a teacher, right? I know I'm a teacher that used to get at school every day about 10. A male. 10, 30. Watch it. When the teacher came, the teacher used to come to school, and the teacher lived close to school, right? The teacher used to come. I used to be so pissed off, and I was a young teacher then. The teacher used to go into class and say, I'm sorry.
The meal?
Yeah, just like this here.
But Corey,
Yeah, let me finish. A day I was in staff room, and the teacher come in the staff room. I deal with them and they can't touch me. I said, what's going on here? They can't get rid of me. I will call the union. The union sort them out. That teacher still teaching.
Yeah.
I remember standing in the staff room, that teacher bragging that they had a 75% pass rate in their subject. And everybody, like, you get a 75% pass rate? Because we know this body don't really teach. I said, listen, man, you can talk to the English teacher, so how many students sit the exam?
Maybe enter.
4. 3 pass.
3 pass.
And the 3 that pass used to do lessons. They may learn from you understand me?
This grace teaching.
But he's still teaching today, brother man.
And situations like that goes on.
He's still teaching
so I know of a case, right?
You understand? I was so angry.
I know of a case.
And there are many teachers like that, boss.
I know of a case that this particular teacher, well, she comes in the beginning of the term, but what she does is get sick leave. She comes in the beginning, get sick leave, and leave the second day of the term. Come back the last day of the term, then then go off again. Come back the first. Yeah. But and if she does that in the middle of the. If she does that in the middle of the school term, you can't bring anybody, you know.
You can't bring anybody, so
you
the children
can't bring nobody. So, because that's how you can't bring anybody in the middle of the school term. So,
that's
I came in the school term, I came in the middle of the school term.
Because
way somebody went on
the body, what happened? A teacher
pre-retirement?
A teacher left in the middle term or something
to take up a new job,
to take up a senior
post. That's different. But if you are on sick leave as a teacher,
correct, they're not going to bring anybody.
And we come to board meeting and we say, hey, Worrell is out on sick leave in the middle of term. We can't bring nobody.
Let me get an example.
So I got some teachers that rape the system.
There are some students, right?
That's true. And they get vexed when they have to pay back the government.
But I didn't know you don't pay the back.
How you mean it?
I never heard.
But not only that, what we would like to do is break the whole cycle. So when they return, they will realize that God is missing by 2 or 3, 4 days.
It happens.
Let me show you.
Got some wicked teachers out there, boy.
That I experienced as a teacher. I used to do something. Listen, I taught at school. So on mornings, this is what teachers do on mornings. Any teacher that has a free period. Teachers know which days are their best days, their worst days, whatever. If you come to school and you know that you got free periods, the first thing the teachers do before they get there is get the substitution list. You just walk through the door and you just look and see if you need my list.
Listen.
I have been at a school where the substitution list per day used to have 15, 16.
But that's not bad. What's bad is when the children can tell you, Mr. Worrell can school today.
Yeah, they know it.
Mr. Sacre can school tomorrow.
No, it better you.
Why?
I mean, why?
Because
Custom not coming,
bro.
Not only that. not only that, when they got two teachers in the class, one at the back saying no, and one at the front teacher, and it's supposed to be one supposed to be remedial teacher.
I've done.
That annoys me.
And that teacher could be somewhere else.
And the remedial teacher ain't doing nothing.
I ain't doing
But I
nothing.
have done team teaching, and it worked for me. Right?
Yeah, but it worked for you because you
You're
demand it.
supposed to have two separate groups.
Yeah, one is remedial versus.
What we did for team teaching was, well, I prefer to teach the class while the other teacher helped these students.
I want that week.
Because we had the team teach the bar boy class.
Okay.
And when they say bar boys,
Real bad boys.
these men do dogs, these men who with swords. I'm talking about the sword. I'm talking about a bite, a sword, that's them sort of boys. The way I dealt with them was different to how this other teacher dealt with them. So team teaching worked for us. And many times I would ask her not to come class. And Stephanie will understand why. Because the way...
She's cutting. She's cutting it.
No, she's an excellent teacher.
Teacher, but she's cutting it with them.
But the
way I go talk with them and deal with them and that sort of stuff. You understand? Just like how there are some girls, to give an example, there are some girls that I see female teachers deal with so cruel. Meaning, the way in which these girls is taught, the teacher gonna have that language. Yeah. There are some students that you will speak to in standard English. You got some students like, listen, here we're going on to a boss man.
Yeah.
Y'all help me table though.
Yep.
My sir, what? Get up, boy. Then you got some other students that you just gonna go, John, I know you're sleepy. It's time to move.
Yeah.
And so you got, and there's a challenge too. A lot of teachers that come into some schools do not know how to maneuver and
they don't
change.
know how to code switch.
Yeah, you gotta do it. So there are some teachers too that are unsuitable for the schools that they're at.
Okay.
But they don't know how to function. They can't relate.
Yeah, they can't relate to that sort of thing.
Because even when we were in school, you know that there were some teachers, the littlest thing that happened in the school, they freak.
Not only that, you have teachers in secondary schools who teach content as though they're teaching to adults in a tertiary institution. And they can't, the language, they can't break down the language.
The question, when before a teacher enters into a new school, is there any assessment of that teacher or any, well, I know schools may not got human resource management, but would the principal have any meeting with these students?
These principal don't even know who coming.
So listen,
I had two staff, right?
That's wrong because at the end of the day, the principal.
Listen, I had two staff. Let me show you how bad it is, right?
Like school, and probably that happened. That teacher that come about, probably
don't choose the ministry. No. If it's in the primary school,
I did a secondary school.
The secondary school, yeah, we will interview and we will make recommendations 1, 2, 3 to the ministry. The ministry will then decide
who they want.
But here's what I remember: I lost 2 staff this year. 2 staff.
What school you're at, Worrell?
He can't say.
I can't say.
Okay.
But there was 2 staff that I lost. Just same thing. We were joking about it. I was like, the boss supposed to get called tomorrow. I was like, get called, and then 2 Tuesday may get called. These people applied probably 5 years ago, right? And underneath this administration they called, they just got up today, if today was Wednesday.
I went to work.
I went to work Thursday. There was no assessment or reassessment. Nothing. They get put on term contract.
Yeah.
But then what we'll do, the principal will go to then send in the evaluation, whether or not, whatever, to the ministry.
The principal, the department head.
The department head of which, so the principal, which then you make the recommendation.
The subject area.
So you had a
But you know what? The thing is, one of them don't have a subject. They're in primary school, so they're all over the place. They're teaching everything. They're floating. Right. So one of them floating, one of them get a class. But I'm just saying is, after 5 years,
things are so different now.
Things are so different, and they just went in. They just went in like this. They was like, I just get it. When they called me and tell me, boss, these students like little safaris. They're terrorists.
Listen, I have a friend. She moved from primary school, right? She was teaching in primary school, and she went to secondary school. And her first day at school, there was a fight. And she stood up like this.
Froze. Didn't know how to function.
She didn't. I mean, literally. And when I don't want you to understand when fights happen in some schools, every school is not the same. In some schools, when they got a fight, they only got a small crowd. You got some schools, when they get a fight, children jump through windows, run into class.
When they was fighting at school ball,
it's to that level.
Who had to stop.
But there are some teachers who, even though they hear that there may be a fight,
they're not going to look out.
when they see it, I went to a class a time. Once again, I at the what's called it the door. My class doing work, I used to be at the door. I go and know who moving what, who duck out. I see two boys. I see a big guy sitting on a desk like this. In walks a student. This is about 9:30 in the morning. First period. In walks a student with a bike, a little bony guy. I'm watching this situation because after a while, especially if you grew up around certain things, you know something about to happen. I watch this little guy, this bony little boy, you know, walking this big guy sitting at this desk. And they're watching this thing across the yard, and they're talking. So what I assumed was that the big guy was in his seat. The big fella in that he on watching the teacher. While I'm watching the boy, assumed was the board. I see the boy take off his bike. I just saw that. All I see was this silver thing. This silver thing just come out the bike. And by the time it come up, it was like this here. And it just the blood started spoke. So I gone out. I was one teacher. In schools there are certain teachers that get at almost every fight.
You was one.
Yeah, I was one of those teachers, right? So I went to the fight.
The hell were you?
Thinking that no teacher was in there. When I got to the door, the first thing I went for is just to get the weapon and the boy. The teacher was standing in the corner like this here.
You're laughing.
You're laughing, right?
But
that teacher could be studying if he turned out
yeah.
and attack me. And I want people that are listening to know. I don't see nothing in the teacher's regulation saying that a teacher.
You gotta stop a fight.
Thank you.
No.
Right?
No. There's nothing in the.
But your job is to protect.
But even that,
other children.
Other children in the classroom.
But
your job is to protect. So when you see teachers going to these
it's by instinct too.
These teachers can be hurt.
Absolutely.
And sometimes what happens is at their own expense. Because I know of teachers that clothes get damaged and get them out here.
But listen, but Stephanie said something really important earlier. And while you have security, some say them say they're for the plant.
That's right.
And not for the man or the student.
That's right.
So at the end of the day, what and I say it's interested being sitting on boards and learning about this cool thing is that oftentimes I'm wondering that this system seriously needs to be overall. Because I would say that if I'm a security at the school, I remember at St. George fighting. Security will stop us because sometimes the fight used to be so cruel.
Not anymore.
That everybody, female teachers, male teachers, everybody had to just get in. Even students try to get in.
Because you see, what will happen is that you will have a child who goes to chop up somebody's child, right? And I will go to restrain you. You know, the Education Act says reasonable force, right?
Not get chopped up.
And the parent will say that I assault
them
child.
Yeah. Teachers are taking, a lot of teachers are taking their hands off.
Right. So you will find that.
I don't blame you.
Exactly.
But you don't blame them. But then you see the child get stopped, or you see a child get.
You have no choice because I'm having this again, right? Let me flip it. Because when the child gets stabbed, the first thing the ministry is going to ask is,
what did you do?
Where was the teacher?
Yeah.
What did you do?
What class that you there was supposed to be in?
Exactly,
why the teacher wasn't?
Right? So you will find that you will have a disturbance at school, and as Corey rightfully said, certain teachers will go immediately to reestablish order on the school compound. And we have to deal with parents then who will come in now.
Idiot parent.
Well, I don't want to call them.
I can call them that kind of teacher.
And I want you all to know, right? In schools, right? And because Stephanie teaches at the type of schools that I would teach at, right? You have a small time frame to get this thing shut down. Let me tell you why. Once a fight starts in a school, at this type of schools that we would teach at, school done for the whole day.
But no,
listen, after that one fight, Safri.
Multiple. For any little reason, those students are fighting.
And Corey.
And they talk about 7, 8, 9, 10 fights within a period of 2 hours, you know.
But you know, as a teacher, you will go to work and you will say, something infuriating today.
Yes,
something infuriating today.
And you and your staff calling each other and say,
yes, something infuriating today.
You know what I'm saying? And you know what some principals just do? Some principals will pre-call the police. We're just trying to feel a vibe.
Yes,
what we do, we know everybody know who's the gangsters in school. And I was that teacher that gonna know all the gangsters. So
know.
what we gonna do now? I will go up on one block, and their schools got blocks.
Yep.
I will go up on
Names
the
too.
block, right?
Yes, it's
Or I will go up on the Gaza. I will go and call him and I say, listen, you got any war starting? Anything? You go reason.
Listen,
And
when
the
you-
Bible says, sir, man, the thing is right. You see them men? Yes, sir, boy, we ready for them today. No, I gotta call this teacher. You can't call every teacher. You gotta call certain teachers. Yes. And you gotta get this thing shut down. You know when you shut it down? You scare the whole gang in your computer lab. And you let them watch TV. Or
that would have never worked with St.
No,
George.
listen.
you go
Listen, I remember one day, right? Listen.
I spoke about war zone. Y'all tell me no.
But no, it's still war zone.
No.
Listen, it's about perception, about understanding. I remember when we were going to school at St. George, I remember we wanted to fight. But unlike the boys that today, they're rushing to fight. We used to plan, we fight. So we sit down and we plan it because we know after we can get sent home, we going Eddie Nichols, we going Dodge. So how we would do it is, you don't touch my group on school compound, or you don't touch your group on school
as long as it
compound.
doesn't happen at
Alright, school, we good.
Yeah.
So you can't call the names. So we say, alright, we can deal with you down the road later. We can fight in the van stand. That's how we used to be principal fighters, right? So remember one day, one of the teachers the same way. This principal fighter. The teacher decided the teacher get a hold of the date that we can fight. So you say, alright, I get detention this whole group. So my group get detention and the other group get to go along. Alright. 5 o'clock come out. And we had a St. George was you had to walk from St. George all the way down to Parish Church. And anybody knows St. George that's a pull.
And it's dark too.
And 5 o'clock, 400 and something students were still down there waiting for the fight. And when we get there, by the time we hit the pastor, men start doing so, because you never fight in your shirt. Men start doing so, and we start to fight, and we sword lick that day, and we do bust head that day till the men off the block come take with the swords and everything. But when you know that, we had a van park behind the bakery out there, waiting for we always went down in the van the same way.
After the fight.
After we done fight. But we get sent home next day.
You just made a point there.
But we bring home, we murder everybody.
You just made a point there that I respect. You said that y'all were sword licking and the block men recognize that you're
Yeah, men will take with this stuff. Men don't mind you fighting, you know.
Them school wrong.
But men don't mind you fighting. Let me tell you something. Men, people will sit down and watch you fight with as long as you pull weapons, somebody will intervene in that. Somebody will stop. So people don't mind us as thing fighting in the past. You understand? We fought in school, and as long as it was a fair fight, you will hardly see anybody get. If it's Corey and Jack fighting, nobody ain't gonna really push that boy to stop. You see what Corey boys getting, what Jack boys getting, and that's where the fight can escalate.
But you know what we also have in our school system, and people like to pretend like that is not real, is that we have a lot of mini gangs.
Yeah, standard.
By names.
You
Why would you
better
say?
They have names.
Listen, when I started learning that,
male and female,
Yes.
and then mix.
And then mix.
And they control bathrooms,
And
they
then-
control
Blocks.
stairs.
Yes.
So let me give you an example. I had a first form of, I had J. Joe's at school, right? I had J. Joe's. So J. Joe's, when I was teaching, were my gatherers of information. Now, I would be in computer lab. I want my J. Joe's to kind of tell me, boy, sir, Bobby got scissors funny. Now Bobby's in first form, and this is the first term. I said, alright, no problem. You never respond the same time because somebody knows is a snitch.
Yeah.
So I went during the second period to Bobby Farm because Bobby's in my class. He's my student.
Yeah.
I see the teacher. I said, excuse me, ma'am, I can talk to Bobby. Bobby come to me. I walking down the stairs. No, down the corridor. My Bobby, man, I hear you about scissors. Man said, yes, sir. I said, man, where you going scissors for, man, sir? You know the man that's run that stair block? So this is third form boys. And nobody beneath third form can pass on that.
Yeah.
Or the man take your money, slap at your head, beat you, whatever. So this fella, he come from a gang in the south. So he ain't taking
nothing
from these men. So he brings school these scissors
To defend
because
himself.
he got to defend himself.
Yeah,
He ain't want the war.
But he ain't want like a punk.
Man,
Punk, yeah.
all fear he. So what's what happened though? I tell you, alright, this is what to do. Then in class, I bring you by. I get hold the scissors for you. I want you to get same one. Man, so that's safe for it. So I said, Mom, I carry back the class. I said, Mom, you can let Bobby get his bike. He has something for me. No, he giving me the scissors in a way too. I taking the scissors in a way the boy can't see it. Because he can't. There's a reason for that too. I put scissors in my pocket. Because I know what stair block it is, we teachers know who's the gangs that's running these stair blocks. I go on for the gang. I know where the men is. I just went to the gang and tell the men that I want to talk with them in the computer lab. Now here's the thing. Every teacher can't do that. You got some teachers that will go to those boys and the boys will tell the teacher, better go for a room here.
They'll say, "How your mother?"
You talking?
Yeah, that's a fact.
Like, kiss it. You got students that would do that.
That's a fact.
And I kid you not.
See that way can't be a teacher.
Right?
Shout down on them, boy.
Listen,
I was shout down on them, boy.
But wait, watch what happened. So the boys gone in the computer lab at lunch. I walk in. So they was there and they see me. The man said, "Sir, what happened? My world, what happened? Am I in trouble?" A walks my little first farmer. When the little first farmer walk in, man said, boy, sir, we get crazy, boy. You know, man get hooked nowhere. It's a man, when it can't be serious, we got a rule. Once world, I had a rule. Once world line is respect. So even if they fight you, we had a rule. You can fight, but once world line is respect. The fight got done. Yeah. Right? And they would say this. I used to tell them, if I got the party fight, and when they hit me, when they can see the ground coming to in the face. That's what I used to say.
He's still a prison guard.
No, you dealing with these boys. You're dealing with the babies. So you show me done it. I asked the man to tell me what happened. Master, that little man is gonna respect.
Party barging to here.
And he want this or that. And the exchange will be talking out. You know when we done? Them knock each other. And they never had a scene at that school.
That was a positive outcome. But the reality is that there aren't many positive outcomes when it comes to this gang mentality in schools.
I think we need to do an show on this whole gang thing.
These children spend their time on the block and they're given instructions
from at home
on what they are supposed to do when they get into the school environment. And you have these kids coming to school as police. Yes, they have weapons, but they also bring drugs into the school.
Selling drugs?
Selling drugs?
You did a very for cookies?
Man, get what's for quarter ounce in the shoe.
Listen, when you have children,
you know a quarter ounce of weed in the shoe.
When you have children who can tell you, I can handle jail though, and they can call off names.
Who in there to protect them?
Who in jail to protect them? You understand that they have no fear.
Let me show you. Let me show you something for this perspective, right? For somebody that did all these things in school. Many times when we were given trouble, I did not know that my rap sheet in school was fat. Meaning that when I blew buck and also the fall, when I got kicked out of school, so we fought in school and we put, at that time we had put 26 students or so in the hospital that one day.
Whoa.
And one day we put, because we swing a flagpole to school. And our principal cursed that day. He was on retirement already. He got his retirement party, everything. Man said, get the F so out of my school. When the new principal came, we came back to school because we figured, all right, new principal, new rules, he gone. But when we got into the first day of school, we said we can come back. And she took us to the office and she showed me this film. I was like, Mom, I ain't give you all that trouble. I could have never give you all that trouble. But reports were in there so thick and we did not know. But while you were in school behaving, there's something that makes you so oblivious of what's going on in reality.
And you don't think about after school.
All you're thinking about is who next to beat, who next to take away,
because
what are gonna play.
Listen, some children live in the moment.
You were living, because me, I honestly,
I definitely think about the children that are accustomed to this life when they see these things.
Correct.
Right? One of the things that are happening in schools now, and I know people watching and don't believe the things we're saying. A fight could start 10 o'clock. Fight done. Now the fight is between two separate gangs here. By evening you see about 25 men.
Who associated with these gangs?
Yes.
From the gangs, the men call,
your brother, your sister,
and
they're outside waiting.
You know,
I had students that I had to put in my vehicle.
There you go.
I carry home.
Listen,
teachers do it.
No matter,
you gotta go through another gate.
Listen, no matter how bad we was, when we were going to school, I saw men came up there and put guns in men's faces to threaten. I saw men take guns and give another student to put it in your face and stuff.
Let me go back to the guards now, because they got some people that just walk onto the compound, walk past the school guards, and go. But the guards didn't care, and go to classrooms and threaten other people's children,
teachers,
and stuff like that. Listen. So again, when we talking about discipline, we have a lot of indiscipline.
Yeah, I want to change the whole script a little bit.
In society.
Because nobody can cover this and anything, and I don't more think you know what we're speaking about. I was in a conversation with a meeting recently with someone that usually come into school and deal with what you call behavior or unnatural. And his story that he told us is that it was at a school, very popular school, only top 3, and there was this boy in class, and he was sitting still. He wasn't moving. They checked him, and they thought that the boy was dead. Ambulance came in, and they took the little boy to the ambulance. And while in the ambulance, the little boy got up. The little boy went away. Why do the ambulance?
Witchcraft, traumatized.
Yeah. He said that his mother wanted him at home, and his spirit left, and he went at home.
Witchcraft.
And he just came back.
I'll give you yes.
And he also told me about stories where they went by some homes of children, and he said this one was weird. They found a coffin in a tree.
Seriously? But witchcraft is practiced here sometimes.
It is.
Yeah. Ouija boards.
Occult practices.
Remember they had a thing that was going around a few years ago.
Charlie.
It was Charlie.
That was true.
It was a game that they were playing or something like that.
It was Charlie, and then there's the other one where they would call and this scary thing will come up on your phones and stuff like that. Yeah.
Anyway, last time these children get scared, right? These children be so traumatized, right? There's a lot of school is. I told my wife, you would never teach in a secondary school.
Your wife is a teacher as well?
She teaches at the community college level.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
But they come to her. Those students come to her. But there are the reality is this, right? All schools, don't let boy fool you. All schools are not the same.
No, they're not.
All right? All schools are not the same. That's the first thing. Don't let boy
can't
fool
teach
you
you
with this sort of stuff.
I
All schools are not the same. But this way was saying.
No,
all schools have aspects of what we're talking about. Just that some schools have more
prevalent than the other.
And some schools are very good at hiding up.
We get an example. At Harrison College, back when we were in school, made yourself eat at Harrison College, boss. You know what I mean?
But let's talk about but those type of schools have a
certain level of.
No, they have a different type of indiscipline and a different level of defiance. The children at our schools can be aggressive and
those want to be more organized.
Yes, and subtle.
But with the situation, I want to know what the situation like what I just mentioned. When you have
the child needs counseling, the home environment needs investigating.
What happens in that instance for you?
You cannot overstep your boundaries either, because one, you have to report that. You have to you have to report it to the principal, the guidance counselor. They may have
you got to worry foreign teacher first. But you should.
You should.
If they're not your foreign.
But if it's not your foreign, you should take it to the foreign teacher, or if you're really concerned, straight to the principal, who will then either call in the guidance counselor or stuff like that. They have to write a report. They also have to write to the ministry. The child may have to go for psychiatric evaluation. They may call in somebody from the child care board to investigate the home environment to see if that child is being abused, because sometimes it may not be that witchcraft existing, but in that child
it might be a psychological
barrier to not face
rape. Is total witchcraft.
Total witchcraft. But the home environment needs
investigation. Here's a reality. Remember that the young girl, the priest had just died.
The white
lady. They had to rescue the young lady.
So she was actually heavy in a lot of.
Look at your situation many years ago at dating.
And the mother was adamant. The child had a demon. Right.
And the child had to be rescued.
But remember too, well, we can look at this in two phases, because some people see the child, like my mother could probably thought I had a demon in me, because your behavior
Mm-hmm.
is not normal. I
It
mean,
may
like,
not be normal, but there are reasons for that.
yeah, meaning that but remember,
You know that Christians believe that everything is spiritual.
But here's what.
But not only Christians.
But not only Christians. But when I was going to school, you this is somebody who had police turning up every night. I was suspended several times while being suspended.
I was suspended several times.
So
being suspended.
I suspended, and at home I still get suspended. You understand? I suspend, I still go to school, and still get suspended. So you were being.
So alright, when you get suspended,
I come back to
it's
school.
against his school rules to
Come
come on
back.
the property.
And
So
I get
if you get found, you normally, well, in these days, if you get fined, it's called police.
Yeah, back in them days, you
I
just
don't
get
know.
another suspension letter to go home.
But it's different, it's
It's-
much different now.
Yeah, don't forget we're dealing with two different eras kind of thing, the 18th versus.
Whilst we're here, so I know we can wrap up soon. What are your views on suspension?
Alright, listen.
I think it should be abandoned.
I think that'll go back to what Corey first.
But I say
Why
abandoned.
should suspension be abandoned?
Meaning, right, what I found even in me, when you're suspended, back in my days, I was asking myself, suspended to what?
But if you only look at it,
No,
Yes.
meaning it protects the children, yeah, but what I'm just saying is, when I was being suspended, I go home, and I felt that I was more coming back, because I go home to a block.
Yeah.
And I felt that in the 2 weeks I home, my mother at work, I on the block, I getting more culturally engraved into that criminal mentality. So when I come back to school now, and I also come back as a hero.
But why your mother didn't find something to do in those 2 weeks?
She didn't say that. She didn't tell she was doing.
Well, exactly.
You
So you were
understand?
blatantly defiant.
No, yeah. So you're blatantly, but I'm just saying you're blatantly. But even now, where more young people are evidently on these blocks, where back then my mother didn't know that I was on a block because they was dead.
Understand? You're looking at suspension from one aspect. We get an example. I know of a student who did armed robbery.
Oh boy.
Right? In Cycle Farm. Right? And
What was the weapon of choice?
he moved with the big men. So he get charged too, right?
And everyone got charged.
This man do armed robbery, broad daylight in bus terminal. This man, you know. So he was at this student was at JS at Dodds. He was there for a long time. Now watch it. So he gets suspended.
Mm-hmm.
Then they give him, I don't know if it's like a probation to see if he's ready to come back into the school.
Mm-hmm.
When the man come back into the school, if you see the fear on some of these students, there are teachers.
Oh, you got right.
Oh yes, I'm glad you bring this up.
I got right.
So imagine a boy,
Mm-hmm.
pick a year level. Once upon a time, you used to say third and up.
Mm-hmm.
Pick a year level. Look at Miss Chase and tell Miss Chase, the next time I see you or the next time you tell me something, I can slap you in the face. Or I can, or what does do, they will wait to when you drive to school and put beer outside the car, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And Miss Chase is traumatized. Miss Chase makes a report to suspend the boy
Mm-hmm.
for 4 days. The boy comes back to school,
Do it again.
I walk straight in Miss Chase's class.
I'll get you a slap.
Yeah, or sit down in front sheet like this here. Or imagine a little girl
Mm-hmm.
who a boy sexually abused. You might look at me like this is, boss, you wouldn't really know girls in schools. A girl gets sexually abused, the boy gets sent home for 2 weeks because you can't send home past 10 days.
Mm-hmm.
So they have to come back to school.
Right.
Even if you come back to school again under suspension,
Was the report made
they
to
got
police?
Oh yes, all those things.
But the
all
police
those things
is
should
covered,
happen.
yeah, pet dogs.
But watch it. What I'm trying to show you is the students in the class are fearful of the student that gets sent home.
Mm-hmm.
The student comes back to school
Even more for you.
and has to sit down amongst those same students. Suspension is not only about the person committing the crime. Suspension is
about
also
protecting
about the school.
school.
We get an example. People may not know this strategy, or you can call it out. When the term comes, remember, you can't send one student for more than 10 days. You see, the troublemakers in schools, the ones that give the most trouble, the most disrespect,
When they
them
send
is
home.
get sent 1-2 weeks before school done.
So they don't
And
want
the
to
students
fight.
and the teachers will tell, and the principal will probably tell them, we will mail your report to you. You know why that is done? To keep order in the school.
And the last
Because
year
remember,
fight.
during the last weeks, teachers collecting papers, and the teachers are expecting their children to sit and do something quick. But teachers are correcting papers, that's not wrong. They, especially the foreign teacher, my God, I feel for you. You in there with them for 2 full weeks. So those other students that you know can cause problems,
Send them home.
they got to go
But
home.
Corey, Eddie Nichols and those other schools, I find out, and I remember being in board meetings, and I remember having a board meeting because I put the disciplinary committee, and when children come in, I found out we were a bit too friendly, and I said to them that, do you know that when you come to a board meeting, you should piss your pants and fear, because
It's not fair.
the teacher deal with you, the principal deal with you. When you come in front of me, you got to fear, because
For those
this-
listening, right, watching, a principal cannot superannuate a child.
What's super annoying?
Kick out the school.
Kick out, it got to come to the board.
Expel.
The board,
Can do it.
that's where it goes. So what? Because people always say, well, you just don't kick you out. And let me tell you, right,
It got to
I
come
hear
to the board.
stories from principals that had hell to get troublemakers kicked out in school.
Nah, you got to come to the
But
board.
the problem
But my
also
party
is
used to tell them when they get 16.
No, I think it's
Oh.
5 years or...
That-
no,
they put on a contract.
They don't work
no,
so
contract.
easy.
no.
I don't know if party tells students, listen,
But don't mind that talk, that's just talk.
It don't happen so.
It don't happen
It
so.
don't happen so.
No. If that child reaches 16
And I've done 5 years.
and they did their 5 years,
Right.
then and there is no reason for that child to return to school,
You could-
then
you
what are you
don't-
coming back for?
if you bring them back, you have to put them on
You don't have
contract.
I've seen children put on
And
contract.
if you break the
One
contract,
infringement.
You're gone.
You're
So,
gone.
how you mean a contract?
I'm calling over to a contract.
When you
You agree to certain
then,
things.
like for returning fix, you
You're
return to
placed
school
on-
on the contract.
This is not schools that got 6 forms.
No, a returning
returning
fit.
fit.
So you'll be placed on the contract, and you will be issued with the rules and regulations that govern your
contract.
Your contract.
and
if
they
you
all,
break
some
it,
students, it can vary. It don't mean they
Right.
may not well fit all. It can vary and
Right.
say that.
Yeah,
some
based on this.
contracts.
Based on if you're a late person, you're a fighter,
Yeah.
you're a troublemaker, you go in the girl's bathroom, you this, it varies. And then if you break that by one,
Just gone.
you can breathe on that contract too hard and you go through the door.
Yeah, you do foolishness.
You do fool-
you
But
go.
that's when you
You
have
go.
that's when you have strong principals who maintain a
And also a
level
good board,
of
Stephanie.
order. Yes,
You
and
also
a
must have a
board.
good board.
But you must also have the paper trail.
Yeah, you
to
must.
warrant
Yeah, you
The
don't.
expulsion.
question I want
You
to
can't
gotta be
just
just worried
you
about
just can't say, oh, he cussed Mr. Worrell, or
You
he
gotta be
cussed
three
Mr.
warnings.
He hit Mr.
Three set
Sackree
warnings.
or whatever.
I-
It gotta
I-
be more than 3.
I want to ask
No,
At least
I can't get a boy saying
Nah.
no, meaning that
You
I
go
know
case
more
law.
boys that
You go
torment
case
schools,
law,
boss.
yes.
But once
Torment
listen,
schools.
I've seen, and I don't remember when I was going to school, and I got some friends that do it, and then I got kicked out in first form. They may even make it past second.
Yeah,
So
because
they-
they
Well, he's
have
getting
problem,
third.
problematic
I was
children.
outside. I remember.
right, them men went early. I mean,
Yeah,
around
yeah.
them men went early too.
Iran get kind of kicked out in 5th, but he get escort to class. So he had to wait at the gate.
Is Emory
And,
Richards?
yeah, and the guards would escort him just to his exam.
Yeah, so
and when
I.
the exam done,
He has to leave
he
the
has
home.
yeah.
So I got
and
I got
and
that
the
too.
guard-
I got escort, and then they give me lunch like 15 minutes before the school, and so I could get lunch 15 minutes with a guard, and then they locked me up in the tower. And we had 3 stories, so I get locked up with 2 guards at each level.
There is a place for a school is
He
a,
married like you was a real gangster.
He was real trouble at school.
I did my part in society,
A school
and I
is a
paid it back.
place which should be structured and which should have
Order.
order.
And I believe
And
that.
there's a place for discipline in schools. And when we say discipline, we're not only talking about corporal punishment. We're talking about when students breach rules. There's punishment that fit.
There's
You know,
a
people say
consequence.
there's a consequence for your
But
actions.
the very may share, right? I remember when going to St. George, Miss Jordan came in. And that's who took over after Mr. Ford. And that woman, even though I don't like her at all, I've only met her twice in my life.
I hear what you want.
When she started to share St.
That's when you
George,
talk about the gate. Everybody had to choose one gate.
one gate,
Yes, I remember
parents
that
were
one.
no longer allowed in office. They should build a cage, a bird cage.
Teachers had to choose one door.
One door.
Everybody.
No student was allowed to walk past her door. When
No,
the
no,
school,
no,
when you
no.
were late, you had to go and stand up in the sun. The school used to work. We had St. John Harvest about 2 pastors, so you had a mini pastor. All the students
There's
would
one
wait
in the middle there,
in the
so
middle.
that was a praise
That was
team.
why you have prayers where the teachers stand up on the balconies or
Look down.
anything and look down.
Oh Lord.
When the work, I don't care how bad, and this is why I agree with you when they said children desire discipline. When the woman started to shape her school, she was the boy talk about start beating before anybody knew she was the replacement head. The woman started to shape the school. Safri went. Sack freeze went. Everybody went. As she get you report, you did nothing. You have I don't know if she had the best board in the world, but everybody was in agreement with you. To this day, right? I must tell you, the trajectory that you see St. George on right now as a school that you're hearing limited about in terms of fight and all that.
The videos,
and the videos is because of her. While I may not have appreciated a lot of the I would say anyway, well she banned me from school 10 years even after I was out of school, she still banned me 10 years later. Mm-hmm. I would say she was the best sort bread that ever came to that school because the way she cleared, when we were begging for a fence around the school because when the needleman and all that used to come out the place, they came to our school and we didn't have the back doors or we didn't have the gate because St. George is on a hill.
I think they came for you.
And then that woman made sure she bent over backwards. And that school had discipline. I don't care how bad you were. And that is what you need.
Yes.
Listen to me, right?
Yes. 400 students went home.
We call it middleman.
For uniform and
a man used to come around and ask if you want candy and inject you with HIV thing. They're years ago.
He was a disciplinarian.
Listen.
And not because he would, and his method of discipline wasn't flogging, you know. His method of discipline is that you did nonsense.
Oh.
We prepare you for the world of work and to be a law-abiding citizen.
You know what I'm talking about? He was at St. Giles when I was in primary school.
The punishment
is brooms and all of those.
You want to wear brace? Go home till you take. You want it out? Stop home till you take them out.
I was under Major Barker.
Right.
And that's the thing that people don't understand, you know.
He was a legend.
You need principals must be given.
You can't be the children's friend.
Principals must be given the opportunity to run the schools,
and
right? Especially if you are a good principal. Let me pull that part, right? I went to spring school. When she name is Blackett, that's the woman.
Yeah.
I went spring school, boss. I was there for 3 days, doing workshop, right? Conducting the workshop. The first day I went, I gone into the really netball. Oh, good. All the children talking. I looking, purposely looking for one uniform that above the knee.
Not one.
I find it yet.
Not one.
Boss, I went to look for it.
Not one.
Right? Because listen, every uniform was beneath the knee, right? Watch it. But the students were still talking. The games teacher was on the stage. And the students were still talking, even though the games teacher was talking. Boss, I get goosebumps now from it. I facing, so let's say this is the stage. I looking at the students side on. All of a sudden, I mean, it wasn't like coming down. I hear
Mr. Farley
boss,
had that effect.
I mean,
Mr. Farley
I thought teachers thought, everything went silent.
Talking.
So I look around, so
John, how that effect?
boss, the woman just drove up on the school, right? All the woman do was open her door. The woman did not put, the woman ain't get to the car. The woman opened the door, brother man, and the whole place went silent. When I was at left foundation, I went back at foundation. Major Barker had retired. He found that part. Retired. He was retired for 2 years, I think, by then. I go on it there. One of the groundsmen said, Worrell boy, you won't believe what happened a week or a couple of weeks ago. So what happened? The man said, no. He was telling me about when it happened. So this is the year before. But Barker had what? Retired. Barker drove through the back gate even after school. Everybody went. The man retired. The man drove through the back gate. Who they playing tennis, who they playing, everybody scattered. And it wasn't that you were necessarily afraid, it was a respect that these men had. See, they were Farley. When Barbados kick up an uproar over Farley saying at home, what they didn't realize is that every term the numbers went down.
It's true.
Every term the numbers went down to a point where people realized, yo, this man is playing.
Yep.
All Farley was doing, and the staff, but it wasn't only Farley, they were saying, listen, this is what the rules say.
And this is where you're going to buy.
And this is where you get a buy.
I want to make 2 final comments here, right? The first one is a question I want to ask y'all, based on all that you have said tonight. if you think, one, that the successive administrations and government have listened to the concerns coming from educators, and if they have...
Now, we got it wrong, journalism.
No, hold on. Let me see. Hold on.
You got it wrong, journalism.
No, hold on.
Right.
I have said successive administrations. So, hold on. Let me speak. Successive administrations, to me, from what I would understand politics, would be from when Mayor Motley was Minister of Education. They had Rudolph Cappy Greenwich. They had Senior Ronald Jones. You got Santia Bradshaw now. So they had many different ministers. Anthony Wood, right? And Cindy Ford was there at one point.
Years ago.
Right. Years before you.
In the 90s.
Right. So
She was before Molly.
yeah, no, she was before.
No.
She was in Motley, but on the author.
Yeah, correct.
But on the
Right.
author.
So and then you had Patrick Todd, who just strolled through.
Bro.
He wasn't a minister.
No, he was a minister of state, minister of education.
To add that, go on.
Hold on. He occupied He occupied
As a permanent secretary, as a parliamentary secretary.
No, he was the minister of state and minister of education. He was not parliamentary.
Yeah, he missed it.
But what is that?
He was the
He attended
He was
All right, don't let me go there.
But what I'm asking is, based on all the different ministers of education had under both administrations, right? Number one, I want to hear from you guys finally if you think, one, the government has listened. And when I say government means a continuum. So if governments have listened, and number two, being that we are now in 2019 and in 2020, and the challenges that you guys are, because you were teaching for 15 years,
Yes.
and you said
I'm always a teacher.
from
He was never any teacher.
right? So
6 no.
I only went into schools in 2007.
right, okay. So the challenges seem to be from inset when you actually started, right, and to this day the challenges seem to persist.
But
So
we will always have those
no,
challenges.
I understand that, but what I want to know is
Get the point out. Get the point.
The point I want is if you think that governments over the years have been listening, and then as it stands today, are we on the right path, and do you see hope for the future?
I think governments listen, but do they act? That's the question.
Yeah, that's a big thing.
Governments know. You really think government know the issue?
Of course they know
They know the issue.
They know the
The
issues.
people in the ministry know
Yeah,
the issues.
but
The
they
principals know the issues. Listen,
But-
teachers know the issues. Administrative staff know the issues.
Does the policy planners know issues?
Listen,
Of
they
course
know the
they
issues.
do.
The children know the
But
issues.
as with
Stephanie said it.
as with everything in the civil service, it's a political. They use it as a political football, and there is always the quote unquote. Or don't let me say that.
Stephanie, are you seeing any positive changes being made now?
Absolutely.
Yes, definitely.
I think that we have a minister of education
Excellent.
who is listening to not only the educators or the policymakers, but to children and to parents. And she is actually trying to put policies in place where, as I said earlier, where everybody works together for the benefit of the children. The reason why we teach is because we want what is best for the children. Whatever decisions are made must be in the interest of the
And you
children.
feel like this was happening in the past?
Let's not ball on politics.
I answer the question.
You bought on the politics just now.
But he started it.
I don't understand.
Exactly.
Being a
He
black
started
woman.
it. He
Well, I don't understand you
started
on
it.
the ball.
Let me
Right, and you find, let me finish, and you find that it wasn't happening in the past?
Absolutely not.
Good. Okay, thank you.
So we're in the right direction now.
I believe we're headed in the right direction. I think
Perfect.
that teachers now know that when they have concerns, that let me just say before, we had issues before where we had a minister of education who did not see fit to engage
The teachers are
the teachers.
And it's sad because, you know, I feel like
Right.
she was a teacher.
I will say he's the first teachers.
But now when teachers have issues, we have a minister who makes it her business to say, you know what, I am coming to listen to your concerns.
Very good.
I will also
Regardless-
add Worrell Spring, parliamentary secretary.
Absolutely.
I think, listen, I have
Absolutely.
contacted him about so many different issues. For different schools, parents ask questions. Every single time I contacted him, I didn't always get him.
He returned your call.
He returned the call. And then I
Yes.
remember I asked him a question about payment for CSCs. He didn't know, which is...
And he made it his business to find out.
Yes! And he got back to me, and I was able to pass it on to
person.
other people. Here's my thing with the education system. I believe an education system cannot be formulated, or education goals can be formulated in vacuum.
No,
I
because
believe
it's
that
dynamics,
and it
constantly changing.
It has to satisfy what is the national goal.
Yes.
So let me get an example. When they ask the average, and this is something that all BHs must be able to say. We can't say no. But we gotta be able, when somebody can come to us and say, what is the vision of Barbados in the next 50 years?
Yeah.
What is it that y'all are working to? So let me get an example. If I came in here right now with a puzzle, a 10,000 piece puzzle, and we got a big table, all 1, 2, 5 of us.
I will go down home.
Right? Alright, well watch it. And I put all the pieces on the table. And I said, alright guys, we got a week to fix this. And a 10,000 puzzle.
That'll take 2 weeks.
Good. And I asked it, what's the first question y'all get asked me for? What's the first thing y'all get asked?
I want to see a picture.
Thank you.
Yes.
Everybody when they go fix a puzzle wants to see the picture.
And they put the
Do you
box
know
right
what?
there.
Where they
Yes.
can say, you know
Yes.
why the puzzle picture is put there? Because it gives you something to
Aspire.
work towards.
Yeah.
So our education system
And it reinforces what this end result
should look like.
Yes.
So if you know that, you know the whole German, he would probably be the body that put the wrong piece in the wrong place. Right? and then the man is said, brother man, I know you want to be creative, right?
Get you off that to your budget.
But this is what we're working towards.
Stick
Does
to
that look like that? No, German. Be focusing on that. So what will happen now is that our education system would be tailored to suit or to satisfy what we're trying to achieve. So then now what will happen is, remember, a puzzle is made up of many pieces.
Yeah.
So you know what? I can use a different word rather than puzzle. Let's say that the puzzle was a pizza.
Yeah.
Everybody can be sauce, but I am okay being an olive. Stephanie might be a pepperoni.
There's a place for everyone.
Thank you. Every piece.
Okay.
So we in the education system, we look and say, all right, this is where the country want to go. I believe this is where my strength is. The man said this is where my strength is. And what we do, we all know working towards what? That goal.
So you got it's a collective approach. I think everybody from parents down, from not just teachers, not just ministers, not just government, but from everybody, even with the students, everybody have to see that role in the education. And
But one thing
shaping
that needs to happen, we need to implement it and get more programs of this. Like, we need to teach parents how to be parents.
I agree.
Yeah, I think Paradox has started something like that years ago.
We spoke about this, and we actually going forward to start a program like that.
A parenting program.
So you're teaching the men.
No, parents in general, men and women. Yeah, but I mean, like, alright, you can't, alright, my thing is, well, I appreciate the effort to start something with men. I think that, because sometimes you can.
There's already one at Barbados on planning for women already.
But no.
What, a Barbados planning for women?
Yeah, there's a program like that going on.
Oh, that Carrie Ann
Hurley.
Zero.
Yeah. But I think that these things need to be, you see, again, when you're teaching people, it becomes like they become students again. You have to make it very
interactive.
We educators understand this. There's a complete difference between teaching children and teaching adults.
Yeah.
Two different skill sets. I want to talk something over here for y'all to think about.
Alright, where we wrap up.
I've said it to some other teachers. I've passed it on to other people. I want to hear what y'all think. A lot of our schools basically look the same, even though the children are so different.
Agreed.
Right? Now, I think it's so ridiculous and unfair. And I can just use a Harrison College because actually pick on Cormier because it is Cormier, man. Right? Hallelujah, up and on comes tomorrow. Right?
I can't wait.
Cormier people. Right? But watch it. So let me just pick Cormier. Right?
I went to the Allen school, at least not
Yeah, oh my God.
Ali had a set uniform in Barbados.
Hey.
Yo,
You
girl.
got
And some of the most beautiful women.
Yes,
by the
bro.
way.
Let's not you see that Charlie uniform?
I'm just saying.
You see that when Ali's girl walking the bandstand with that Charlie uniform, ain't a girl that could have tell Ali that.
I didn't know we were Charlie.
He talking about Granny.
No, not now.
Brian
No, we had a Charlie.
No.
It's a name.
No, we had a checker shirt.
No.
I don't know. Look here then. Honestly, but
It was okay.
I didn't feel that, bro. I didn't feel it. It's
Listen. You have to speak the truth. I am being biased here.
I like Charlie though.
The best senior girls' uniform for 4th and 5th.
Not foundation.
It's foundation's uniform. I am sorry.
We
disagree. The set form ugly. But that 4th and 5th form foundation.
What's that? Make us look up, look.
Alright, back to
Alright, good. Alright, now watch it. I think it's unfair for students who get in that common entrance over 90, right?
Yeah.
And students who get in under 20, that they expected in 5 years to sit the same exam. I think that's unfair.
I agree.
I also think that there are some schools that the whole structure or the whole curriculum and the whole structure and the way the school functions must change. So let me give you one example. Right? You got 5 minutes to wrap up. There's a lot of schools where teachers are struggling to teach because the students got a lot of the needs that need to be dealt with.
Agreed.
Right? So it's not that the children can't learn or don't want to learn.
Too many
There's
challenges.
so much other things to deal with. So I didn't walk on to school, right?
But
let me just in general say one in lower secondary schools. One of the things newer secondary schools. Right? One of the things I wanted to recommend was this. For some of these schools that we know of that are considered real bad behavior, a lot of bad behavior students in here. Bad behavior stuff happening. I would have no teaching of academic subjects after 12 o'clock. Just let me explain. Right after lunch. And you only got 3 periods after lunch. Depending on how you structure, right?
And what the Minister of
So
Education
2:40, right?
I'm going to get to the suggestions that the minister would have.
Right? So let me just toss off.
Alright, 1 minute.
So what will happen
1
is
minute there, Korea.
you will have your academic
and then
before 12. Yes, and whatever those are. After 12 o'clock, there will be 3 things that are happening for the 5 days. And this will be probably for just first form or whatever. 1, you will join a social club.
Okay.
Right?
So these are suggestions.
So this could be cadets, boys, scouts, girl guides, 4-H, junior achievers. No, let me explain. Right? Junior achievers, you name it, whatever it is. So rather than cadets happening now after school and people say they can't attend, it is part of the curriculum, right? And it may be twice a week. The other thing you will have is that every student will join a sport.
I agree.
And this is not PE. It could be chess, it could be badminton, it could be hockey, it could be whatever, right? And all of this is not you joining it because you are excelling this sports thing. This is all about dealing with the
discipline,
teamwork, the commitment, all these things. The third thing we will have is that we have people coming in who will be dealing with emotional intelligence, who will be dealing with leadership, who will be dealing with public speaking, who will be dealing with different things. Now what will happen is this is going to be spread over 5 days. 5 days, right? It will be not 3 hours, it's going to be 3 hours after lunch.
12,
right?
12 and 3.
Lunch finishes
At 12:40.
At
12:40, and then school finishes at 2:40.
Oh, that's a 2 hours.
Yeah, it's school, right? Or some schools are
30 seconds more.
So basically, just to deal with some of the other issues, we got, and this is part of the curriculum. So this is the boy saying, "Man, I can't come." It's part of the curriculum, right? It's just an idea I thought. So there is not a finite something. It's just an idea.
But at the end of
let us hear your recommendations though.
I'm not making recommendations. At the end of the day, we still exactly consultants are paid lots of money for their recommendations. Corey is willing to offer his. You have to pay me for mine. But I'm saying that at the end of the day, we still have a syllabus to cover. And just because a child may have gotten 20% in an exam, that does not mean that they can't excel at CXC. So I don't want us to have that misperception. What I will say is that the minister Sandra Brasher would have said that she's exploring the option of a middle school, which would be, I think, an excellent idea for our system right now. Middle school. So instead of going straight into secondary school, you have a year or 2 in middle school, where the child will find themselves, and maybe some of those suggestions that Corey made would be better suited for that middle school.
So middle school is like a transition period.
It's a transition period, right? But what I would say is that I think that we need to have secondary schools, which are specialist schools, a school for technical, a school for the arts, a school for science, a school for sports, and these different things.
So more or less, you're looking at streamlining.
Yes.
But I was streamlining only after third form though.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree.
So I was saying, would it be in a position where let me see, we get a third form, you just said this way, we want to do it. Let me say, I did architecture at school.
Yes.
I see architecture.
Yes.
So therefore,
You can go technical and
at
design
grade 4 form now, I go
Straight into
Right, but at third form,
At
you
third
know, at third form,
Yeah.
you are going to now be sitting something or preparing to go
that,
that
yes.
direction.
That's
So whereas
what
in
I
that middle school area, you
You're
feeling out
finding
yourself, you're feeling
you're
yourself.
experimenting,
you
as
know?
Corey said, you're working with mentors, you're taking part in extracurricular activities and stuff like
And
that.
next thing too, we used to be in school and do a lot of things that we know, like,
You don't even
I
like.
didn't need to work at school.
I did that too.
When it comes to theory, I passed. I can't do what a thread, a shirt, nothing so.
I agree with
I
you.
learned like
I really treat it like I have my own choice. I won't do need to work.
Yes, I
And
agree.
just did it.
As a
But
man.
again, right, we
I thought as a man only.
we
I did it.
streamlined.
The girls was
we
in the
put
class.
students to do subjects,
Oh,
a lot of
oh,
subjects
oh,
that they really
oh,
are
oh,
not
oh.
interested in.
And they will feel it. Generally,
And they will
feel it.
I
It's a
agree.
I hate English. Ain't that it was bad? It was in English. Play past English. The teacher looked good. She was young.
So you paid attention.
Just like Marshall College. I looking at
You
that.
paid
Hey,
attention.
front of the class.
You were
Pay
hard.
attention.
I passed English.
So you're a pervert. I told you
You're a
that's
pervert.
Oh, I just want to make
That's yours,
I want to
yours.
make
You're a pervert at school.
a very important point though. Sometimes children are overwhelmed by the content that
The teachers.
they have to take in.
Yeah, 8 subjects is a bit too much.
And the
12,
syllabus,
right? What do
no,
8, 12?
and the syllabus that teachers have to cover is so
In the-
vast
In the short
in the
amount
short
of time.
space of time.
After that each subject. So think about 12 subjects.
Every
Well,
subject
think about
has
every.
XP.
They make it easy. 10 subjects. First form. I even added the other 2. You come from doing that CS. See how much? Not CSC combination. Let me say 3. You do main thing. You come into secondary school. First form. 12 subjects in your back.
12, yeah.
You think that's too much? Let me add it because people don't think about these things. Each of those subjects will have at least 4 tests in that one term.
And
That is that's 4 by how much?
12,
12, 48.
48.
Yes.
That has nothing to do with about 4 assignments.
But and
That has nothing to do
take
with
in,
homework.
there you go, and take into consideration that
But
some
you-
of these children
even at UE,
have
it was
learning
much more.
challenges. Some
Yes,
of them can't
thank you.
read properly.
And the standardized tests. 2 standardized tests, check in there. Then you want to ask, why
Why are children struggling? Why are they acting up? Why are they overly
All they're
aggressive?
doing is work.
Thank you.
And then you go home and your mother find why work.
I want to say this here. I hope that either Sandy Bradshaw or Ramel Springer,
I believe
Is-
both of them.
is
Yeah, and they're knowledgeable.
They are
and,
absolutely.
you know, these issues, I want to say this openly, right? These issues are occurring and reoccurring.
Yes.
But we know that we have 2 very talented and brilliant people in Ministry of Education who, even if they are not able to accomplish the job themselves now, that they would
dedicate.
put the ministry on a path
Yeah.
that it would,
That brings us
over a
into-
period of
yes.
time, that these issues would come down from 10 to
20
9
years.
to, you know, because reality
20
is
years
that
is a good time frame.
This is the future of our children we're dealing with.
Yeah.
And, you
Plus,
know,
this is the future of Barbados.
And the reality is that we have a lot of frustrated teens leaving the secondary schools
Yeah.
and going into society, and you're telling them, "Oh, be productive." How are they going to be productive?
When they don't even know what productivity is.
Exactly.
And to think that despite what all of you say, we spoke about here, the majority of teachers just go work every day and love that job, you know.
Yes.
I want people to understand
Yes.
the majority of teachers
Yes.
in the system love their job.
Absolutely.
Love.
Absolutely.
And don't mind that we talk about some of the fighting and that sort of stuff. Yes, that's in all schools, there's fighting in all
Yeah.
schools, but generally school is an excellent place and
Absolutely.
children enjoy it, teachers enjoy it. Look, it's the most fulfilling job I have ever done.
I agree. I
Most
love my
fulfilling.
job.
I am glad to hear that.
I love
Most
my
of
job.
them.
At this time, I would like to thank Corey Worrell and Stephanie Chase for being
Thanks
a
for
guest on
having
our
us.
show.
Yeah.
We have Jeremy Beckford, Kimara Safri, Kimara Stur, and Simon Aline. They have both left already. I want to thank also the viewers for being logging on. This is our longest show ever.
No, it's not long as Worrell was long. Just to quickly,
thank you.
before we wrap up though, Stephanie, do you have any upcoming activities that you guys doing at school that you want to
Absolutely.
let us know?
But you just have to check my social media account to see everything that is happening at Graydon City. I am I am very proud of Graydon City. By the way, we have a centennial. We have a weekly newsletter that is published by our deputy principal, Mr. Worrell, Howard Gittins, and we have Independence coming up. We're honoring
Dr. Stetson Wiltshire, Allison Hines, and William Plaskett-Wade. Allison went to school at the Graydon City Secondary School, Garrison, before she went to Foundation. And
which is Mr.
Put some respect on the name. Christchurch Foundation.
Okay, alright.
Or the
right?
University of Churchill. Pick it.
Alright, you whatever. But we also have a very active.
But that is really
We have lots of activities to benefit our students. We have football, we have the Duke of Edinburgh scheme. We are now reviving our steel pan orchestra, which is one of the things we're raising funds for. On Independence Day, we're having a concert, and all of the artists performing are performing for free because we need to raise $5,000 to tour.
Are you performing?
No, I'm MCing though, so you can see me looking all hot in and thing.
I must say, Stephanie, for everybody,
Stephanie,
you dress really well for school.
Thank
I
you.
must say that.
Thank
Stephanie,
you.
I think that if you just lean to the left a little more and give a layer up, you will get a plate on.
Hey! But I hear a man.
It's not a hit him.
I hear you say,
Are you going?
I hear 20 grand.
So let me ask, like I asked you, going to make a contribution to get these steel pans too.
Yes, sir. I just to steel pan when I was school, very business. Yes, sir.
So are you ready to donate something?
A little pleasure something.
Remember we talked about a fair chance with the private
Yeah.
sector?
I am always willing to donate.
Oh,
No, like political answer.
Yeah, I know,
Okay,
right?
you're not being a politician.
Like,
Maybe I'm not in politics.
I will give you both his numbers when you leave here. So you have anything coming up?
Yes. Christchurch.
We gotta
Christchurch
Hey, put a little respect on the name.
You have
Christchurch Foundation School has Foundation Got Talent.
Oh yeah.
This is coming on Saturday, November the 9th
$30.
at 7 p.m. Adults $30, children $15. Yes, I ain't want to post it on my Facebook page yet because it can get lost. I will post it around the summer. Yeah.
And remember to always follow us Chasefeld, because Stephanie, you just give us some update. I like the fact that on mornings I don't have to read the whole blog. I can just go to you, pull out the essence of the.
Where you find the time to do that? That's real work though. Every single morning.
I know.
I didn't realize that was you.
Yes.
Did you want to see that face?
So I know $5,000.
She keep you informed. I like that because it really give me just what I want.
Yes.
And not necessarily have to be like digging through the papers to find.
Yeah,
And I
everything
like
is in
one thing. I like that. So as the man said, really want to.
Oh, and I have my Christmas drive, Chase Files 100 Christmas wishes. And what's going to happen is you will write into Chase Files and recommend a family. You will say what you need, if you need food hampers or if you need a toy. And we're looking to assist 100 families for this.
Definitely donate towards that.
Thank you so
Because
much.
it's cheaper?
Candidates.
No. No.
I'll be willing to have the
So
100.
Thank
you're
you.
not donating towards the
Steel pans.
Oh, donate towards Steve.
So we have
Thank you.
This is where we should lead
This is a wonderful show.
by example and then he go get a check button on. Right there. You see? You want to send $20? We don't want, we want zeros.
Oh, Lord.
But we want to thank everybody. We had a real steady flow of people watching. We really enjoyed this show. It was very informative, and this is what DeBrief is all about, as we mentioned. It's about keeping things informative. We go along, but again, Corey Worrell and his show goes along every morning from 9 to 11, and other shows
Let's talk about it as we're going again on
Friday, and we know like people like Brassas and those goes really long. So something like this that is very informative. You break down. You're not scripted or anything. Real people, real problems, real things, real stories, real talk. And this is what the debrief is about.
And if you want to sponsor this show,
definitely contact any of us, and we would. If you want to display a product, talk about what is going on. You have a business. We about pushing people. We about sharing information. That is what the show is all about.
So if you're Aline is saying, I enjoy the show.
Well, thank you, Sophia. We want to thank all the people that came on and keep us.
Real awesome, Stephanie.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, Raymond Jones, all those guys that came on.
Yes, we thank you all.
Fabian, all you guys that came.
Calling more saying, nice show.
Right, thank you very much. And again, we'll be here Saturday at 6 o'clock. We start a little late sometimes, but we try to be on time. So 6 o'clock, who we have this Saturday?
we're supposed to have John King.
Minister John King. Hopefully he come. We know these ministers get very busy, but
I forget something very important. You don't put raisins in cookies.
Oh my God.
Worry, me body babe.
Oh
I
my
tell you, I
God.
cannot eat
All right, have a good night, everybody.
Right. So everyone have a blessed day and one for it. Stay tuned again. And we want you to like our page,
Yes.
share our page. Stay tuned. We'll be here on Saturday again and every Wednesday at 6 o'clock. Thank you everyone. Have a good night.
Good night.